course, we always talk about the last 10 years of conspiracy against President Trump. And started with the Russia collusion onto the indictments and the impeachments. And of course, January 6th. Do you have any news for us on January 6th in your investigation?
I think you'll see something on that front very soon. As you know, we can't reveal our ongoing investigations. And as it goes for things like Russiagate, Maria, again, maybe no one better than you has covered it. And look, I lived it. I was weaponized as a victim against a weaponization, politicization of law enforcement, including at the FBI by former senior leadership there. And I was the one that ran and uncovered the Russiagate hoax and conspiracy back on my House Intel days. I can't talk about ongoing investigations, but I think you've seen reporting in the media and reflections as to what's going on. We will not allow anyone who participated in the Russiagate conspiracy or those who improperly and illegally, in my opinion, spied on me, members of Congress, and even members of the media for a political end state to be left unturned.
Want to get it off your chest? You're in the right place. They accuse this show of being run by boobs. Well, let me tell you about us boobs. We're real and we're spectacular. Want politics and fun sprinkled with a lot of laughs? Heard in every state in the Union and 1,000 cities around the world. We just finished 16 years of broadcast excellence, now in our 17th year. The Dave Weinbaum Show is streaming live all over the world. Good morning, America. Welcome to the Dave Weinbaum Show, where we cut through the spin and serve up the straight talk you won't get from the mainstream echo chamber. It's Friday, November 21st, and as the nation wakes up to another day under the White House, all eyes are on one unlikely Oval Office showdown. New York City Mayor-elect Zohran Kawami Mamdani stepping into the lion's den with President Trump himself at the White House. Picture this. The Democratic Socialist firebrand is fresh off his upset victory on a platform of free buses, rent freezes, and universal child care, promises that sound like a progressive dream, but add up to billions of unfunded mandates. Mamdani arrives today without a clue how to pay for his free stuff utopia, especially after campaigning on taxing the rich while ignoring the exodus already bleeding the Empire State dry. Trump, ever the deal maker, invited him anyway, calling him a communist on Truth Social just days ago, yet agreeing to this sit-down to hash out affordability and public safety. Will it be detente or demolition? Stay tuned. We'll break it down. But here's the kicker. New York's own governor, Kathy Hochul, the moderate Dem fighting for her political life, slammed the door on Mamdani's wish list. Quote, "I'm not raising taxes," she declared flat out, heckled by Tax the Rich chants at his rally. Hochul's scouring agency budgets for cuts, instead dodging hikes on corporations or the wealthy to stem the outflow. Smart move, Kathy, because millions of New Yorkers are already voting with their feet, fleeing high costs, crime, blue state policies for red havens like Florida and Texas. U-Haul data shows over 15,000 left New York City in August alone, with Florida snagging 17% of them. No income taxes, endless sun, and a booming economy. Governor DeSantis even joked about tariffs for those refugees, turning his state purple. Folks, this migration wave, 121,000 gone from New York last year and accelerating in 2025, is a referendum on failed governance. Mamdani's got big ideas, but no cash, and a governor saying no. Trump's got the leverage. Is this the wake-up call for the left, or just more hot air from Gotham? We'll dig deeper after the break. Your calls, your takes. This is Dave Weinbaum signing off to the intro. Let's roll.
These are investigations that are of important consequence to the American public. Deputy Director Bongino and I have lived through it with you and everyone else. And we don't ask you to trust us, but look at the work we've put in under President Trump's leadership. We are going after every single person, from drug traffickers to those who create precursors, to those, most importantly, who weaponize our system of law enforcement. You've already seen indictments of people like former Director James Comey and others, and we're not done.
Well, by the way, Comey is asking for all of the charges to be dropped right now, as you know. So the audience wants to know if we're ever going to see accountability, Director. And I know that there's a limited amount you can say about this with regard to what happens next. There was a criminal referral for John Brennan. Do you believe we will see accountability?
Yes, 100%. We are delivering this accountability. But I'd just like to remind the audience, and I think you know this better than anyone, they built this weaponization scheme over the course of a decade plus. In these first 8 months that we've been there, we've already charged individuals, thanks to this great Department of Justice, who are at the pinnacle of this weaponization of government. We've already turned over, by the way, Maria, James Comey turned over 3,000 documents to Congress for oversight. Christopher Wray turned over 13,000. This FBI, under our leadership, has turned over 38,000 pages of information to Congress for congressional oversight purposes, which is wed to accountability, which is wed to the referrals that they send us back that we activate at the FBI.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dave Weinbaum Show. You got a great show today. Rabbi is supposed to be on at 8:07. I see his smiling face right across from me. Actually, it's 8:04, I thought. Yes. I don't know. Is it 8:07 yet? Yeah, it is. All right. JJ is going to be on at 8:40. Chris Adamo is going to be on 9:30. Don Mayhew, 10. Mark and Pat will be on at 10:30. That's McCloskey's. I got Rick out in Salem. Thank you, Rick, for everything you're doing. Good luck with your doctors. Lisa, my lovely bride. Hi, Lisa. How are you?
Good morning.
And the producer, JP Maxwell.
Good morning, everybody.
All right, give yourself a round of applause, and then let's get right to the rabbi. Okay, Rabbi, still wartime Rabbi, provides housing and unity with the IDF widows and their kids, second most powerful in Israel and his own house, according to his wife Yonit, especially since Ron Dermer retired. I wonder we can talk about that. Somebody's got to take his place, don't they? Mm-hmm. Welcome all the way from Israel, Rabbi Moshe Rothschild. What's the deal with Dermer, and why aren't you sitting there in his place?
Yeah, well, he retired, but on good terms. He wasn't under scandal or anything like that. He had done his job. He was the lead negotiator at the end with the hostage deal. He had his finger on the pulse of President Trump. He understood the American psyche as someone who grew up in Miami, to a father and a brother who were mayors of Miami. And so he served a very important purpose in the government. He was not elected. He was a strategic advisor to Netanyahu. And, I don't want to say his role came to an end, because they could always use him. But for what he was there, he succeeded. Not too many people get to the end of their job and say, wow, I did what I was supposed to be doing. And now, he took a lot of heat. from the hostage families along the way, and it was hard for his wife, and of course, but he did a great job, and he's
Okay, but you
rising
didn't
up.
answer my question. Why aren't you the second most powerful man in his own home and in Israel replacing him? You're the likely choice. You
Yeah,
have ties all over the world, and
yeah.
especially America, and
Mm.
especially with the evangelical Christians in America. They all know you.
Yeah, I don't know what they're waiting for, but I'm waiting for
Well,
the
there you
moment.
go. Now we're talking. Now you're getting a little bitter, and you should be, because that should have been done when when he said he was leaving.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
Now, who do I call? I'm gonna call BB. Say, what's the matter with you?
Yeah, go for it.
Like BB has enough things to do, right? So let's talk about the Saudi deal.
Mhm.
But only if Israel makes a second country for the Arabs, aka Palestinians.
Right.
This is to me, you know what? I know they're not going to do that. Israel and Saudi Arabia knows they're not going to do that. This is negotiating and looking good in the Arab world, is it not?
Yeah, I think that's what it is, because Israel is not, if they have to decide between signing a normalization agreement with Saudi Arabia and a Palestinian state, of course they're not going to choose giving a Palestinian state, and they're not going to sign it. But one thing we have learned here in this region is that what Arab leaders do for the public isn't necessarily what's going on behind the
Yeah.
scenes. And so um, I think it's going to get done, especially because the United States is giving them F-35s and this $1 trillion deal. And I cannot believe Trump would have done that with no strings attached. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that part of the deal is the normalization, but they, this kind of wink, wink. They have to say that we support a Palestinian state and blah blah blah. So I think it's going to get done, but we'll see.
Just a comment on the meeting. Trump is sitting there with him, and the guy's already offered $600 million, right?
Yeah.
And he's talking, he's talking, he's talking. This is suddenly he says, and he mentions $1 trillion. And Trump said, "What?" He says, "Oh, we're going to come up with $1 trillion." And Trump is looking at the guy like, "Oh my God, this is amazing. This is great." And he shakes his hand, and he keeps talking. What's his name? I don't know what his name is. Is it Sonny, or I don't know? He says he's the prince.
The
He's
crown
kind of a
prince.
neat guy.
Yeah.
And so Trump, looks in and says, we can make that a $1,500,000,000. He's already got him going on that. He did that to a Japanese guy, and the Japanese guy was like, "Okay,
$1 trillion. Like, it's
where
crazy.
where did we get off? What happened to us? We're supposed to be smart people, and we're
How
not."
did they have $1 trillion?
I don't know, but well, they're going to develop in the United States. They're going to have all sorts of businesses, co-businesses with each other,
Yeah.
and it's a hopefully you get the Abraham Accords,
Yeah.
which really is a sign that breaks up the whole crap about not doing business with the Jews, and from the river to the sea, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Hopefully, that kind of stuff will be a little bit put in the background, even though what you said is resonating with me, that we have no place to go again, that
Right.
we have to probably consider where will be the safest.
Right.
And, listen, I got to give that some credence, but
Yeah. Look,
uh,
I don't know if it's on your list of things to talk about, but what happened in Manhattan this week with Mamdani and the synagogue?
what happened? Tell me.
Well, there was an event, an evening event at the Park East Synagogue, which is a synagogue that's been there since the 1800s. And the event was an organization called Nefesh B'Nefesh that promotes American Jews to move to Israel and helps you with the process, with
Yeah.
all the. And there was a a huge rally, an anti-Israel rally in front of the synagogue that didn't allow people in, and so on and so forth. People condemned it left and right, and Mamdani said something to the fact. He said, "Well, they shouldn't be having these events for this illegal country, whatever, something to that effect, in a synagogue."
What?
And uh, and he said, and I would, I tried to discourage the people, something like that. He made the most
Discourage
neutral.
what people?
The protesters were they were violent. They were
Yeah.
chanting, from the river to the sea, and all these. It was really an anti-Semitic rally in front of the synagogue, and Mamdani really didn't say much.
So
And
who was he bashing? Was he bashing the Jews for being there, or
yeah, he
bashing
was saying they
the?
shouldn't have an event in the synagogue promoting Aliyah.
This
It was,
guy's got to go.
yeah.
They're having two votes today. I didn't mention this in my monologue, and I'll tell you why I didn't mention it. I had my monologue done by Grok 4. I decided I wrote it out this morning, and I said, "Okay, this is good, but I got to redo it." And suddenly it hit me. They got this Grok 4 that's
Yeah.
supposed to be amazing. So I put it. I say, "Write me a monologue based on these facts," and it did. And
Good.
actually, I lost it on the way in. I had to do another one, but it only took a couple seconds.
Yeah.
And
ChatGPT also can do it.
they
Yeah.
all can do it. This is amazing stuff.
I asked Grok if he was jealous when I talked to ChatGPT.
Well,
So
you should have asked him if he was jealous when he talked to me. I have torn them apart
yeah,
on all sorts of stuff that I know that they don't seem to know.
yeah, but they're
Even
good. They're
Grok
pretty
4.
good. They're pretty
So, we're delving into the 1 Sixers thing to Israel and
Yeah,
stuff like that, and they don't know,
yeah,
they're back in Biden years in terms of what they're talking about.
yeah,
And I rail them, and then suddenly they catch up,
yeah.
you know,
Sometimes you gotta, convince you gotta set them straight.
but they should be set straight the first time around because they're telling this to everyone else, and they're not their lies, but they're lies. They're the lies from the Biden administration.
Right.
And they're continuing those. Okay, so Iran, are they still executing Iranians or Persians, as we might call them, and why?
Well, look, it's been their strategy for decades now, since 1979, is to kill dissent, and it's unfortunately it's been successful. And after they saw what happened this past June with Israel and Israel's ability to know everything that's going on there with the targeting, they realize they have an internal problem, and so they're killing everybody left and right that they suspect, without, of course, due process.
Yeah.
As but it's what do you expect? They're a country of with a desperate dictator.
Well, what I'd like to expect is going back to the 50s and 60s when they had a moderate government that was friendly to the United States and that was friendly to its own population.
Right.
You know,
So that has to change. The administration there there's no doubt there has to be regime change in Iran.
yeah.
Um, how, when, I don't know, but it's got to happen. The sooner the better.
Well, and you got to keep these Democrats away from giving them billions and billions and billions of dollars to be what they are, Jew haters.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, exactly.
because the population aren't Jew haters; they're Jew lovers, aren't they?
Well, look, it's hard to say because of the indoctrination of the last, 40 years. Who knows if it's
Yeah,
changed?
could be.
You're certainly that was certainly true at one point, but these are new generations of kids brought up in on hate. So who knows? It's hard to say, but
Well,
certainly the Iranians in exile were very pro-Jewish.
if the Saudi Arabian Abraham Accord works, you're going to see a lot of change, I believe, for the better. Now, is that going to mean that Israel is going to be let alone? I don't think so, but okay, it might be easier.
Yeah.
It might go to where they stop the publishing of all these, kill Jews things for the school kids and things like that.
Look, every one of these agreements that we sign is a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
And collectively, it's very helpful.
Sure.
But
also, the Jews standing up for themselves the way they did.
Yeah.
That does a lot too. That does a lot. That shows people that we're not going to do that. God does not want us to wait until they kill us, because he wants us to get up and fight, or maybe even prevent the fight or whatever, but not to sit there and just take it.
Yeah. Dave, I got to cut it short. The Sabbath waits for no man.
Other than Dave Weinbaum Show, where can people buy your book, which is The Secrets of the Hebrew Bible?
It makes a great gift for the holidays. Secrets of the Hebrew Bible.org.
I got a little music for you. The Rockets dancing since 1933. My question, when are they going to get the other girls in? The new girls. I mean,
Dave,
come on.
It's the Rockets.
1933. What are they doing? They're holding themselves up, and they can kick 3 inches off the ground. I don't think so. I don't think the dresses fit like they used to.
Yeah.
All right, what is that? Wait a minute. What?
I got so busy laughing. I forgot.
All right.
Wait a minute. Wait a second. God will. And
What do you know from funny? You
okay, and with that, you're out.
All right.
Hi to the family. Shabbat shalom. How's that? Clean cut. Gone. Yeah, I had. It's pretty interesting. I because of the fact that I've started all these conversations with AI, they already know who I am. They the Dave Weinbaum Show and stuff like that. It's like I'm actually thinking now. I've been toying with doing my own book, and which and here's the bug, is that people are worried that with AI it's going to be the loss of people writing books, because they're going to have a lot of input on it and maybe write the whole things. I don't care. I mean, I want to experiment with this stuff because it is here and it's here to stay. So. Okay, I don't know. What do you think? You think it's AI? You think it's a danger? Bill Hardwick sat there and said, this is a dangerous thing. And maybe it is. I don't know, but I'm going to experiment with it and see what it does. And if I come out with green hair next week, at least I'll have hair, right? Because I ain't got none today, So what the hell? All right. Like I said, we got a great show, but I think we have time now to take a little break. So let's take the break and we'll come back and we'll have lots of fun today.
Honey, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
It looks like you're filling up a swimming pool.
Yep, I'm filling up a swimming pool.
In our living room?
How else am I going to watch the game and stay cool?
If your AC is on the fritz, call Hartley's Climate Control. Hartley's is the area's best in HVAC repairs, installs, and maintenance. Knowledgeable, honest, and dependable. Serving Rolla and the surrounding areas for commercial or residential needs. Hartley's Climate Control. Community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about Koi Sushi and Hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy, but also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender, all one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. So, You'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Busy schedule? Let your locally owned Price Chopper help you save time with online shopping. It's easy. Sign up to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app in the App Store or Google Play. Create an account and browse through the categories and choose the items you need. When you place your order, your personal shopper will get all of the items you've selected, taking the same care you would and following your notes. We offer free curbside pickup, so you don't even have to get out of your car. Start your online order today and no online shopping fee for a limited time. Go to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app to get started. Price Chopper. Fresher savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the number one sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
Gotta reach 'em, see it right now.
Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
Maybe it's for a kitchen you've always wanted. Maybe it's just to have a little extra room. Whatever the reason you're considering a new home loan, it's good to know that Town & Country Bank will guide you in the right direction. Our experienced local lenders are here to help you with a new home construction, remodeling projects, and fixed and adjustable rate home loans. You can even start the process online by clicking Online Mortgage Center at tcbanks.com. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Paul called me. It was in the evening, and he said, "Steve, I'm so excited. I just finished a new song, and I just have to tell somebody." And I said, "Oh, great. What's the title?" And he said, 47 Ways to Leave Your Lover. And I said, "Paul, what if it were 50? 50 ways to leave your lover." And there was a long pause. And he said, "Go on." And I said, "Well, 50 has a nice ring to it, and 47 sounds a little awkward." And he said, "But, I've got 47. I can't think of any more." And I said, "Make a new plan, Stan." And he said, 48. I said, don't need to be coy, Roy. Drop off the key, Lee. He said, okay, 50, great. Hey, thanks. And I'm sorry if I interrupted anything. I said, don't worry, I was just here cooking a chicken. And he said, oh, really, how are you preparing it? And I said, parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. And now look it up.
Okay, we're back. I hope you like those things. By the way, call us 573-578-2700. Get it off your chest. Or
you can also reach us by comment on Facebook, X, YouTube, and on Rumble.
And we'll try to read them all. Sometimes I get so ensconced with all the things I got to do, and some of these interviews are very, very interesting. I thought the rabbis was good, entertaining. It held me to a limit as I went on. It was about 10, 12 minutes or something like that. And we got a lot of stuff in, a lot of his thoughts in, and it's very good to. Look at here. They're so anxious. The people on this show are so anxious. John Jeffrey Bradshaw, ready. He's ready. Well, you can call me anytime. JJ, Patricia Oden, Maxwell, sounding good, looking good. Go team! Thank you so much.
She's always the first one on.
Yeah, she is just about. She's great. She's the official pastor to the Dave Weinbaum Show. Shannon Reed, good morning and happy early Thanksgiving to everyone. Thank you so much, Shannon Reed. John Jeffrey Bradshaw, great interview. Rabbi Moshe. What am I, chopped liver here? Huh.
Well,
I thought it was part of that, at least.
In honor of Thanksgiving, we were provided with kind of like how they did for Halloween. We've got some different borders here.
You're a little late.
So. This might be a good time to make your Thanksgiving show announcement.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Now, I'm trying to think. What the hell was that? Okay. Yeah. We're not going to do a live show here on Thanksgiving Friday or the day after Thanksgiving, but we are going to break it up and have three. What? How do you describe these?
So due to limitations through StreamYard, we're going to replay last week's show, but it won't be a 1 3-hour block. It's going to be 3 1-hour blocks because that's how I have to do it. So it's going to be part 1, part 2, and part 3, but they're going to be played back to back. So it's as if you're going to be able to watch the whole show.
And it was really a good show. I thought just an excellent show. We're doing amazing with suddenly we're worldwide. We've got 20 countries now listening to us every week, in big countries. We have almost all of South America. We've got a big portion of Africa. We're making our thumbprints into Europe, places like that, China, Singapore. It's really kind of cool. I was always told that radio was the big deal, but you know what? After 17 years, I can prove this and now as big, if not bigger deal, because I don't get a boss hanging around saying, "Oh, don't say that or you'll get fired." Well, kiss my tuchus. Here I am, and I'm not getting fired. I'm getting warned and stuff like that by the likes of some of these media outlets like Facebook. Used to be Twitter, but not anymore, not much. And they used to shadow ban me, but that's not occurring anymore. So not or hardly ever occurring. I'm thinking the last thing that happened where we got an hour chipped off of the show by Facebook, but everyone else had it. Probably, as my son is explaining to me, something that happens just on occasion. And sure enough, next week I was on, and I think I'm on this week. I don't know. You think I am?
We are.
Okay. Do we have any more comments?
That was all.
All right. So we're waiting on JJ. He's going to have a great segment. I know he is. Let's talk a little bit about who's leaving New York City. Verizon. They're closing down in New York City. I think they're moving to Texas. I'm not sure exactly, but 13,000 people who couldn't pay taxes now are leaving New York City and going to Texas, I believe. And then we've got Jasmine Crockett scammed the Epstein thing by saying, and these Republicans have given money to an Epstein, all right, and she was trying to mix everybody up by saying they were all contributing or taking contributions from Jeffrey Epstein. Well, there's 300 Jeffrey Epsteins. 299 of them are still alive, and the other one's dead. Now, let's talk to this wonderful person who's staring at me, and he has a thing behind his head. It looks like he's some kind of a king or something like. Yeah, you got the Flower King, but all the golden shrouds are coming out of your head. And I'm saying that is a cool look for you, by the way.
It's biblical.
This man is 257 years old. He's just a little bit older than the country itself, and he's a great he's a great knowledgeable person on the Constitution. Let's hear it all the way from Rolla, Missouri, for John Jeffrey Bradshaw.
Well, good morning, Dave.
Good morning, JJ. What's on your mind?
Been a heck of a week, Dave. The stuff is flying at us. You mentioned AI in your monologue. I have a little bit to say about AI.
Please.
2 articles dropped into my lap off of Facebook this week, and both of those were from sources that I did not recognize. So let's look at the first one. Fauci and Liz Cheney. The 16th Federal Court of Appeals vacates Fauci and Cheney pardons, which were signed in Washington, D.C. when Biden was in Brussels, Belgium. Okay, this sounds like breaking news. So, like anyone that does his due diligence, I looked for a second source on this, and lo and behold, there is none. The fact is, there is no 16th Federal Court of Appeals. There is no 16th district. So this thing was
okay. So what was the original source? You said AI, but where was it from?
I don't know. This was from a source called MM, whatever that is. Okay, the second one.
Miserable Muck. I know all about him.
Yes.
Yeah, Miserable
The second
Muck.
one was SCOTUS, and anything that involves SCOTUS, Supreme Court of the United States, raises my eyebrows. So this article, SCOTUS voted 5-4 that Trump can use the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to deport people. Well, I would love that to be the case as well. So I went to the Supreme Court's docket, and there was no such thing voted on anywhere. So these are 2 cases of fake news that was parading in my Facebook feed as real news. And like you, I verify my sources. I get my information from trusted sources.
Yeah.
Now I have blocked the folks, the AI fakers that provided this information, but what I'm discovering is they just masquerade as somebody else. MM turns into TT, and they still end up in my Facebook feed. So,
what's the difference between them and MSM? Because you see, fake news
not a hell of a lot, Dave.
All the time, except at least they put CNN or MSNBC. Of course, they're going too.
Mainstream media distorts what is basically factual stuff. This stuff was made up out of pure cloth.
I think MSM makes up a lot of stuff.
No, well, probably. The point that I'm trying to make, though, is
what happened to the BBC when they played around with the film of the 1/6 speech that Donald Trump
Yeah.
gave. And they completely changed the whole context of it by moving around some sentences. And now they're getting sued for billions of dollars by who? Donald J. Trump.
Donald Trump. It's just like what 60 Minutes did with the Kamala Harris interview.
Exactly.
It's no different.
So, we got all of that going around. AI is going to be played with a lot.
Yes.
And there are going to be people making lies up of it like they do everything else. I don't know how serious it's going to get, but I heard where Elon was showing off the Grok 4, and he said a couple of times that he was terrified at the power this thing can do. It's smarter than anything.
There's a lot going on there.
Smarter than the smartest people in the world. And so, okay, but if you're a guy like me, and I'm not the smartest guy in the world, hell, you're smarter than me. And so, well, that goes without saying, I realize, but the thing about AI is that if you can get them to try to say the right thing, they'll do it. But my question is, are they biased? And I've said it to Grok 4 too, just recently.
Yes.
When I told them about the 1/6ers, and they went back to the old Biden crap. And, oh no, these people were seriously in breach of blah blah blah. And I called them out again. And finally, and the second one was a whole different thing. And they're admitting it.
Yeah.
Now you see.
Well, they're
going
learning.
to do that and keep that information. And why should a schmuck like me be the one giving them that information? They should know already.
They take information from wherever they can get it. But Dave,
you could have said, you're not a schmuck, Dave, but thanks for going along with that.
You and I, we deal with facts. We root out facts.
Right.
We try to find truth. And the point I was trying to make is that we have a responsibility to provide due diligence in anything that we put on this show. So I have made it a policy as of yesterday afternoon that I will second source every single fact that I come up with from reputable sources, because here was 2 articles that really got my attention. And I said, whoa, if this has actually happened, this is great stuff. And both of those were cut from whole cloth. They absolutely didn't happen.
Well, let me ask you a question. If you get a story from Fox News, are you going to look at MSNBC to see whether they're talking about it and or have a different news story than what you saw at Fox News?
For starters, no, I won't. I will go to Breitbart, Newsmax, any number of other independent sources and see what kind of spin Fox News has put on it. Then I may go to those other sources to see what kind of spin they have put.
Well, I'd like to go there and find out what the hell they're talking about.
Well, me too. Both of us have a responsibility to provide.
Why are they saying this stuff? Can they back it up? Most of the time, no.
Probably not. No.
And sometimes they admit a little guilt there.
Well, like the BBC being sued by Trump, they provided a lukewarm apology for what they did. But if you look at Great Britain, they have headed towards censorship more than anyone in Europe, save perhaps France. They're headed towards a socialist. I won't call it a dictatorship because they are still a representative republic, but they're very much headed towards censorship, as are we. And Donald Trump is doing his best to make sure that doesn't become the law of the land. And speaking of censorship, Dave, let's segue right into the next thing.
Okay.
Little thing about sedition. I'm sure you saw the video clip that was put together.
Oh, wait a minute. We're going to play it right now. Okay.
Very well.
JP and I, go ahead. Let me present it. All right, he's going to do it right now, and he's going to get exactly what you're talking about. This way, it gives our audience a little bit of sureness.
Oh, there we go.
Here you go.
Each day, No one has to carry out orders that violate the law or our Constitution.
We know this is hard and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
the Army, or Navy,
the Air Force,
your vigilance is critical.
And know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
the American people need you. We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution, and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
We're going to play it again, JJ.
Are just coming from abroad.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law or our Constitution.
We know this is hard and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
the Army, or Navy,
the Air Force,
your vigilance is critical.
And know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
the American people need you. We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution, and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
Break this down, JJ. Did you heard that, right?
Oh, of course I did. I watched that clip several times.
What's wrong with that? Sounds pretty.
Let's start out with who these people are.
Exactly.
Senator Alyssa Slotka, Democrat, Michigan. Senator Mark Kelly, who I'll say a few things about, Democrat, Arizona. Representative Chris DeLuzio, Democrat, Pennsylvania. Representative Maggie Goodlander, Democrat, New Hampshire. Representative Chrissy Houlihan, Democrat, Pennsylvania. Representative Jason Crow, Democrat, Colorado. Now, let's talk a bit about sedition, and then let's talk about the military for a moment.
Yeah.
I know none of these people except for Mark Kelly. And Mark Kelly has been a nut job for a good long while. He admittedly is an astronaut and a veteran, and he's guilty of sedition, in my opinion.
What is sedition?
Sedition is verbally or with action going against the lawful way of things being done. Okay, we've got a country that follows the Constitution. We have representatives that follow the Constitution. We have a military that's sworn to protect and defend the Constitution. And sedition goes against those things. Seditious behavior would be traitor. Traitorism is sedition. Sedition is talking about it. Being a traitor is taking the action. I'm sure I didn't explain that well because it's not well understood in my head. The point, though, is this. These are elected representatives that took the same oath that I did when I was enlisted in the United States Navy, protect and defend the Constitution against all foes, foreign and domestic. These are the domestic foes. Now, they would claim they have a First Amendment right to say whatever they want, and I suppose they do. But they should be held to a higher standard as our elected representatives.
Who has a First Amendment right? The people that said this?
Everyone has a First Amendment right. But I would suggest to you that due to their position.
When you are in the military, your rights are a little different than the average person. They're a little limited.
They're absolutely limited, yes.
And you're volunteering to make sure that you understand the boundaries of that.
Well, yeah. Dave, the military has a very rigid chain of command.
Right.
So by the time an order gets to my level, which is the bottom of the barrel, it's been looked at by a whole bunch of people at pay grades much higher than me.
And who is in charge of the military? Who is the top person?
The commander-in-chief is Donald J. Trump.
Yeah.
And one of the next things I wanted to say, besides the seditious behavior of these elected representatives, and I think they should be censured over this, if I had my way, they would no longer be in the Congress or the Senate. But fortunately, I don't get my way. But I know a bunch of folks that are active duty in the military, a bunch of folks who are veterans. That's the folks I hang out with. They're shooters.
Yeah.
And none of them criticizes Donald J. Trump's leadership as commander-in-chief. If you ask them about Joe Biden, they'll spit on you and say what a crock he was. And now we have a commander-in-chief that actually follows the Constitution. And for these Democrat folks, now these are our elected representatives, okay? They should be held to a higher standard. To have this seditious behavior and suggest to people in the military that there are orders you should not follow is sedition. It's treason.
They take an oath when they become people in government.
As did I.
That's right. Thus did you. And so they have a certain amount of more responsibility than the average person too.
Yes, they should be held to a higher standard.
Right.
They have the power, they have the benefits, they should be held to the higher standard. So this little video clip is sedition, in my opinion. These folks should be censured for that.
Sure.
Somebody on Facebook said they should be hung. That is, as far as treason is concerned, that is the penalty for treason, or at least it was 200 years ago. But yeah, these folks, they just stuck their necks out and shows, excuse this language, what assholes they are. These people were elected. I think the folks that elected them are probably saying, what did we do? How did we come up with this clown show?
A lot of the folks think they're right. Not a lot, but enough to be a small minority of people that don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Seriously.
They just don't know what they're talking about. And when you tell them that, well, I know everything, it says, but you're never going to get something through to somebody who doesn't want to listen or just has. And I'd love to listen to this stuff because I want to know, and I want to know if I'm wrong.
Well, yeah, me too. I'd like somebody to hold my feet to the fire to make sure that the opinions that I express are based on fact. Can we talk about Epstein for a moment? This thing has gotten center stage lately, and Trump has he's trapped him again. This guy is playing chess, and these clowns are playing checkers. Trump said didn't want the Epstein stuff released, and then did a quick about face. In the House of Representatives, the vote for that legislation was 427-1, so essentially unanimous.
That they wanted it out. They wanted it out, right?
Of course.
So both the Democrats. Now, what's the difference between the Democrats and Republicans when this was first known that this guy was having all this? When was that?
It was a long time ago, and the fact is,
2008.
The Democrats have held the Epstein files and looked them over year after year after year.
Yeah.
Don't you think that if there was any actionable dirt on Donald J. Trump, they would have released it during the Biden administration? Of course they would have. They want anything they can get to slap Donald J. Trump. Well, the fact is there's nothing there. But
not
one of the
Donald
reasons,
Trump, but a lot of others that are
the reasons they
there.
did not release this stuff is because there's an awful lot of dirt on Democrats. Now, there is on some Republicans too. Okay, collateral damage, I'll go with that.
Yeah.
So this thing is within 30 days to be released, and we'll see what names fall. I'm anxious to read it. I've read the unclassified stuff that they had released previously some years ago, and not an awful lot of damage in that. So much of that was redacted. You couldn't tell who went where, who did what. It's just not any good dirt there. Maybe there is some better dirt on this.
Larry Summers.
The fact is, though, that Trump snagged him again, Dave.
Yeah.
He snagged him again. He said, no, I don't want to release this stuff. And they did an about face, suggested to the House of Representatives and the Senate, yeah, we ought to release this stuff. They said, rah, 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 voted for it. Now it's going to get released within 30 days. Trump knows there's nothing in there that's going to be damaging to him. So he knew Epstein. Hell, he kicked the guy out of Mar-a-Lago, had nothing to do with it for a decade. Right. So this is good stuff, Dave. This guy is playing the Congress, and he's playing the Democrats. And the problem is they're so stupid they don't realize it until after the fact, and then they go, damn.
What are they doing that we would consider to be smart? I guess, in a backwards way, you can say shutting down the government did them some good, because now some of the blame for that is going to Donald Trump.
Not much.
A little bit,
Not much.
well, he said he'd do this, and he said, he said, we have inflation still, blah, blah, blah. Look at eggs. Well, all that stuff is coming down. People don't absolutely realize it yet. And this bill hasn't kicked in because of the shutdown. But it will.
Of course.
Yeah.
And the point is, look where the inflation came from. Where did it come from? Joe Biden. Joe Biden and his Democrat nut jobs in Congress.
And that idiot Powell, who gave every break to the Biden administration and won't give a damn about Donald Trump and his administration.
This is going to blow up. This is going to blow up, Dave.
It's going to blow up, and it's going to be good for Republicans, I think.
Going to be good for me, because I'll be smiling through the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
I love it when the Democrats get mud on their face. It's a good thing by my way of thinking. If you look at, you and I take the long look on these things. We've got a long memory.
Yeah.
And you
like
look
elephants, right?
You look at this stuff over a period of years, and you can't help but think how tainted the Democrat Party has become. Now, the Republicans are a bunch of clowns as well. Okay, I'm really not giving them a pass. They've been ineffective at ruling the country. Even when they had a big advantage, they screwed the pooch. But the Democrats are dirty from one end to the other, and you take quotes from these people. AOC, Ilhan Omar, the list goes on and on and on of lunatic stuff. Absolute lunacy. In the 1800s, you would be locked up in an asylum for spouting stuff like this. And in our new progressive socialist environment, that sort of stuff is encouraged by the Democrat Party. Me, as a consumer of all this stuff, I got to sit back and chuckle and thinking, sooner or later, the man on the street is going to look at this stuff and say, wait a minute, how the hell did these people get in power? Why did they continue to get reelected? Why? Because their base is lunatic, the far left loonies, and they're dragging the midstream Democrats along with them. Fine. I'm looking for that party to fall apart, and it is a process of doing it.
It needs help falling apart because, communism and socialism exists, as you pointed out. Even Europe is going that way, and in order to get rid of it, you can't ignore it. You have to fight it. You have to actively fight what they're saying, and you have to engage with them, engage in arguments, and say, if you want socialism, who's going to pay for it? And look at all these other countries that have socialism, and everybody is scared to death because the government now owns them.
Everything.
Yeah.
You and I. One of the things that we do is ridicule them. And I ridicule them every chance that I get because all of the stupid things that they do ought to be brought to light.
Sure.
And I bring it to light on this show. Why not? Why not? Someone needs to stand in the town square and point to this and say, are you folks looking at this? Are you really thinking about this? Do you see the ridiculousness in this?
Yeah.
And you and I do that. And we do it on a little podcast. And okay, we're not on the network news, but the voice is still being heard, and the voice needs to continue to be heard. So
one of the better things of and there wasn't a lot of good things because obviously the 2020 election, in my mind and in many minds, was completely stolen.
It was stolen
and cheated on and everything else. And but the best thing about that is we got to see the other side. We got to see what they really are. We got to see all the things they did, like in Afghanistan, and all the things with Hunter Biden and all this stuff, and all the lawfare going on and stuff, trying to destroy Donald Trump through lawfare and things like that. We saw all that. We saw it and we remember it because it was yesterday when it happened.
Yeah.
Yesterday. And those SOBs cannot escape that because they're still who they are. It's still who they are, and they got nowhere else to go.
They still deny, Dave.
Unless we let them. If we let them get away with this stuff, shame on us. But
I let them deny all they want, Dave.
Yeah.
Because in the end, when you point that out, the egregious behavior just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And bigger. Now, you mentioned Afghanistan. Like I said earlier in your show, I have a number of friends who are either active duty military, National Guard, or veterans. And if you mention the withdrawal from Afghanistan, you will uniformly get from those folks condemnation of Joe Biden and his buddies because they screwed the pooch on this and people died. The point was, though, we had a plan to leave Afghanistan. It was being done gradually. It would gradually turn things over. It's not unlike what we did in Iraq. And Biden said, no, let's just shut it.
Donald Trump had that plan.
Yes, Joint Chiefs had put that plan together. It had been in place a long time. Sure. And Biden's leftist nut job folks said, no, we'll ignore that. What do you say? Let's just shut the door. Let's get everybody out.
Shut the door. Give them Bergam. What's the name of the Bergam?
Give them all of our
Air Force Base right next to China with $85 billion worth of planes and trucks and tanks. I mean, and they still got it. And Trump says, you know what? I want it back. You gotta love the guy.
The military folks that I know absolutely hated Joe Biden as commander-in-chief. In fact, they called him the joke-in-chief. Thankfully, he had a few folks underneath him that hadn't drank the Biden Kool-Aid and kept the military running more or less okay. But if you recall, he shoved DEI down their throats. He shoved a bunch of racist garbage down their throats. And when all of that went away with Donald J. Trump, believe me, those folks said, wow, we just survived an idiot as a commander-in-chief. And now we got somebody that actually believes in the Constitution, somebody that has some sand, somebody that's interested in the well-being of our country. Hooray and hallelujah. So, Trump has been a good thing. You won't find very many military folks that will badmouth him. He's probably the best commander-in-chief we've had since Eisenhower. I don't know where we're going with this, but the fact is I'm still lambasting the Biden administration and happily doing it. Let's see. Up against the clock.
It's going to be a reminder for a lot of years of what went wrong. As long as Trump can maintain doing the opposite, which is what is amazingly good for America and easy to figure out. You don't need to be a genius to figure out this because it's common sense.
Yeah.
How many genders are there? Right.
Well, there's two, Dave.
There's two. But you got a lot of people in this country saying, there's 63, 64. Yeah. That's nuts.
Read the Bible. Read the Torah. Man and woman, period. And those other people, like I said, 100 years ago, they would be locked up in an asylum because they're nuts. Since the 1960s, we've turned all the crazy people loose. They're running amok.
Well, they're running the country in a lot of cases. They're running states.
Yeah. Some of these folks have gotten into politics and are actually running things.
Yeah.
Say Hakeem, as a parting shot, Dave, Hakeem Jeffries.
Yes.
Now, this is a person that I dislike with some vigor. He's a jerk. They called him the Brooklyn Barack. And Jeffries solicited money from guess who? Epstein.
Did he? Yeah, he did. He did.
He did.
Real Jeffrey Epstein, not like
the real one. Yeah.
Not like Jasmine Crockett.
Yes, Jasmine.
All the other Epsteins who are still alive, and then claimed, well, it was an Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah. Jasmine Crockett opened her mouth, and whenever that happens, a bunch of stupid falls out of it. And she had claimed that some Republicans folks got money from Jeffrey Epstein. Well, they did. One of them is a doctor in New Jersey who's very much still alive. And the other one is an entrepreneur in New York City who is very much still alive.
She justified it with, well, they were an Epstein. I mean, she did it on purpose.
Jasmine, Jasmine, please hold your mouth shut in public, because whenever you speak, stupid falls out of it. And you really don't want to look stupid in front of the cameras. But, oh, by the way, you do look stupid in front of the cameras. You've got a room temperature IQ. How in the hell did you get into politics?
That's a great question. All right, my friend. I guess it's time, because you don't want to end your interviews because you got so much good stuff. But there should be. You don't want to. I don't want you to overwork that 257-year-old brain you've got, because it's amazing. We need to restart it and get it ready for next week, don't we?
We could have this conversations on Friday.
Not next week. No. We're gonna miss the show next week. Okay,
Yeah.
All right. So
our conversations could go on for hours because we're interested in what each other says.
Yeah.
Okay, bring on your next guest and some commercials.
Guys,
see you a week from now.
If we did a podcast together, which we're doing, we just call ourselves Two Bald Guys.
Mutt and Jeff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going for Jeff. No, you're Jeff. Wait a minute. Okay.
David.
All right. Well, thank you so much, my friend. Let's hear it for John Jeffrey Bradshaw.
Thank you, Dave.
Have a great Thanksgiving. And by the way, everyone else have a great Thanksgiving too. And if you're going to talk politics, and I say, yeah, why not? You're going to talk politics. Don't give us, don't let them walk all over you because you love them.
Have the facts on your side.
Have the facts on your side. And if they want to hate you for the facts, so be it.
Yeah, they hate me already. Dave, I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye.
All right, my friend. Okay, we're back. My lovely wife is back. Hi, honey. Hi. We had 2 phone calls.
Yeah.
Now 3.
Adolph's calling again.
Oh, Adolph. Okay. I was doing an interview right now, but I think I know who this is. Is this Adolph?
You betcha.
All right. How are you? If you ever listen to the show, you know when I was doing an interview or not.
Yeah, I know. It's difficult because all I got is the phone. I don't have a computer.
Ah, okay. Well, you can get it on the what?
I mean, technically, you can get on Facebook, X, Rumble, YouTube.
But he doesn't have a computer.
No, you can do it on your phone.
Do it on your phone. Yeah. See, you see that? You learned something there, right?
We'll have to give that a try.
All right, yeah, give it a try. Because you're missing a lot of good stuff here.
Oh,
really good stuff.
I'm always missing the good stuff.
Yeah, that's too bad.
That's because I'm married.
Huh? That's why you're married. Jeez, yeah, I'm telling.
She's yelling at me again.
Yeah. Here, give her a joke. This will calm her down. What do you call?
It usually does.
What do you call a dancing calf?
Oh, that's a tough question.
Fred Astaire.
What do you know from funny, you bastard?
You could have had the other thing in too.
Yeah,
how dare you call my guest a bastard? That's my job. Yeah, there we go. You got it backwards.
The Democrats are just going out of their way to step and doodle all over the place, aren't they?
Yeah, they don't understand what they're doing. God knows they don't get what they're doing. It's like Jesus saying, Lord, they know not what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Why am I quoting Jesus? I'm Jewish. Wait a minute. He was Jewish too.
Their biggest concern is we just need to beat up Trump, and that's the only thing they care about. Beat him up and get rid of him.
It seems that's true, and it seems that they hate not just Trump. They hate America. They hate its concepts. They hate its Constitution. They hate its Supreme Court. They want to make sure everything is coming from the top people and down to the to us immigrants or stupid people, because eventually that's what we become is their pawns. Eventually we got to obey them or we're in trouble, and that's what they want.
Yeah, well,
and we can't.
New York is going to be a perfect example of it.
You got that? It already is. It already is.
They're going to get surprises like you ain't never seen.
This is a big day because at the same time that Dami is meeting with Trump, they're voting on a article of shaming communists, that we should shun them. And that's going to be a vote in Congress. So that's going to be really something. So you're going to have maybe the New York communism. He's not going to get a great deal from Trump. Trump's not going to give him any federal money because he can't get any from Kathy Hochul, who is the who is the governor of New York. That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know what he's thinking. His words, he's going to get the money, but he'll stuff it to the people. That's where it's coming from.
Well, yeah, maybe he'll get it from Soros or somebody like that. But no, he's not going to get that kind of money from them. You're talking about billions of dollars, to run a free busing, free healthcare, letting the government run the supermarkets. Oh my God!
Well, so the government running everything is nobody's obviously doing any work, positive work.
Well,
and accomplishing anything other than sucking up money.
What they need to accomplish is whatever the government tells them to accomplish, and they don't pay very well.
No, ain't that the truth?
That's right.
They think they're poor now. Wait till they see what's going to happen.
Well, they're going to get a big taste of that, and they are in some of these cities. They had is it SNAP, when they have the free food, the food stamps and things like that. They found out through this the Schumer's stopping the government. They found out that there's a lot of people that are cheating on this. Some of them are dead. There's like a half a million people who get food stamps who sadly have died. All right, and there's other people that are getting double paid. All in all, it turns into about $1 million, $2 million, and that's just around. Well, I guess it's around the United States. So I mean, you find things like that, and then everything else goes up in smoke in terms of the numbers of who has jobs, because they don't want jobs.
Don't need jobs.
Don't need jobs. They get fed
food and whatever.
They get fed and all that other stuff, and then you got they're illegally legal, according to the government, to take all this money, because they don't look at it. And they say all they do is they come down when the vote's to be taken, and they say, vote for me because you got all this money.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Yeah, and a train is going by. I tried to call Donald and says, when I'm doing my show, could you please not send the train through? It's bad enough every once in a while I have to hear your plane flying over, because that's pretty loud too. But the train, come on, man, give me a break. I'm your fan. Every day I get 10, 15 things from him. I swear to God. And it's like, Dave, I love you. Dave, how come, do I have your right phone number, Dave? I swear to God. My wife's seen this, haven't you?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what? Are you doubting me? Why are you so happy?
I'm just smiling at all the junk you get in your email and texting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's never ending.
My wife is happy today. Thank God.
Yeah.
Well, I wish I just had a small percentage of the money that Somalis have been sending back from Minnesota.
Yeah,
well, yeah. Why don't they send the biggest chunk of it, and that would be Omar, the one of the gals that are along with AOC and a couple others. Used to be what was the name of the gal that was with the Bush, Carrie Bush? That was How about that? Yeah. All right, my friend. What else you got?
I'm good to go. I'm still vertical. I'm sitting down, but I'm still vertical.
Yeah, I'm sitting down too, but I'm feeling pretty good lately. I don't know. Maybe I ought to add an hour to the show.
No.
There you go.
Okay. No,
you have a great weekend.
because I'll be sleeping the whole weekend. All right. Have a great Thanksgiving, okay? Hi to Joanne.
Yeah, we will do.
All right, thanks. Let's hear
Goodbye.
it for Adolf. All right, he's done, and let's see. Let's do a couple more clips. Trump was at McDonald's. Let's play a couple of clips from that. All right.
You are with an incredible company, and I'm thrilled to be here with the men and the women who are really the heart and soul of one of the greatest, most admired, and most successful companies in the history of the world, frankly. The one and only McDonald's. I've gone there a couple of times. And I'm honored to stand before you as the very first former McDonald's fry cook ever to become president of the United States. And I actually was there for about 30 minutes, and that was 30 minutes longer than Kamala was there. Despite her job at McDonald's, that didn't work out too well. And the person at McDonald's that informed us off the record that she never worked there, whoever you are, we appreciate that. These are two guys that own and run a place called Google. They called me the following day after I did that McDonald's little skit, because it wasn't a commercial. You got it for nothing. It was a skit. And they told me that, and I didn't know them. I said, who are they? They own Google. I said, that's pretty good. That's not bad. And that it received more hits than anything else in the history of Google, and that records, it still stands. So congratulations on allowing us to use it, but you made a very good deal as usual. But in the old days, McDonald's and many others would call me to do this kind of a thing, come over and say some words and talk, and they'd pay me millions of dollars. Likewise, they'd do it. They'd call others, only superstars, and they'd pay them millions of dollars to speak. And as president, I'm doing this damn thing for nothing. Because it's you, it's an honor to do it, and it's an honor to be here. Really, the job that McDonald's has done is incredible, and that you're doing. But as you may have heard, I'm also one of your all-time most loyal customers. I really am. I think that's good. I'm pretty sure that's good. While other politicians fly around on campaign planes stocked with expensive catering, on Trump Force One, prior to ascending to Air Force One, which is quite a nice plane also, we served only McDonald's almost every time. On occasion, we couldn't find one, which is pretty hard to believe. We'd go another route. But we really did. You fed us very well. And I even got Bobby Kennedy to eat a Big Mac.
Okay, we're back. And I just wanted to make a comment here. We're going to do a couple of commercials here right after this. But, I used to go to these meetings. These are political, financial meetings, things like that in D.C., and I remember questioning Karl Rove about some stuff and this, that, and the other, and seeing my old buddy that was a lawyer for he was a lawyer for the one of the departments up there, the AG of which is now Pam Bondi, DOJ, and he was trying to get out of there, and he was asking me for stuff to give, but we played football together. He was the right guard for Evanston Township High School, and generally I was the left guard offensively, and quite a difference. He was a lot bigger than me, but he was a good guy, and he's kind of disappeared. But he was a big Biden fan, and I haven't talked to him since. But I'm not sure the guys who are top. I don't know about their politics. I just do know that they were DEI until fairly recently. They got out of it late, which I'm very happy about. And they've stopped lecturing me on having Fox News on my TV in one of my restaurants. She actually came in and says, "What about your local coverage?" I says, we're in Rolla, Missouri. We don't have local coverage here. We got St. Louis, we got Springfield, and I choose Fox News. And we have another TV in the same restaurant, and you can listen to whatever the hell you want to listen to, okay, with that one. But I want Fox News. Most of my people in here want to hear Fox News. And it's true. It's true. So, okay, that's like my little talk on that. And we're going to take some commercials. Be right back with you. Don't touch the dial or the computer. Thanks.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Honey, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
It looks like you're filling up a swimming pool.
Yep, I'm filling up a swimming pool.
In our living room?
How else am I going to watch the game and stay cool?
If your AC is on the fritz, call Hartley's Climate Control. Hartley's is the area's best in HVAC repairs, installs, and maintenance. Knowledgeable, honest, and dependable. Serving Rolla and the surrounding areas for commercial or residential needs. Hartley's Climate Control. Community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word? But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
At your locally owned Price Chopper, our standards are high because we know yours are. See for yourself what an incredible fresh selection of grocery items we have in store. Talk to our expert meat associates about what you're looking for. They're happy to meet any special requests like custom cuts, or see our expert produce associates on how to pick out the best fruits and vegetables. Quality in the deli means fresh, full flavor, and always delicious. If you're craving fresh, baked goodness, we have that too. You can expect the best selection and the best value while interacting with our friendly and knowledgeable employees. You can find what you're looking for fast and easily at the best prices at Price Chopper. Fresh savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the #1 sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
Gotta reach 'em, see it right now.
Insurance going up like crazy. Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
Maybe it's for a kitchen you've always wanted. Maybe it's just to have a little extra room. Whatever the reason you're considering a new home loan, it's good to know that Town & Country Bank will guide you in the right direction. Our experienced local lenders are here to help you with a new home construction, remodeling projects, and fixed and adjustable rate home loans. You can even start the process online by clicking Online Mortgage Center at tcbanks.com. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Okay, we're back. We're back, and we've got coming up next. We've got Chris Adamo, who's always exciting and excited, and you know, I get these crazy people from Sicily, places like that, and they're very passionate. Another guy would be the guy. What's his name? Lockwood. Richard Lockwood, and it's really something else, Pierce or something like that, or I don't remember. Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of different names. I guess he was hiding because he's got all this information about these, these space aliens, and it's really cool to listen to him because, you know, he's got contacts that were in all these major colleges that were developing this stuff for the Army and stuff. Shannon Reed, JJ with a floral halo. I mean, didn't it look like that to you? And we have an Owen McNamee, 1961, reposted this stream. Thank you, sir. He's always reposting my stuff. He is a great patriot, Owen McNamee. And I tell you what, I get a lot of help out of Facebook, and I get a lot of help out of X, believe it or not. I used to get a lot of crap out of X. I used to get punished for being on there, as well as sometimes it seems like I'm being punished on Facebook, but I'm not making the final decision on that. So, you know, yeah, I can throw stuff back there, and you know, I got the president back there, and he'll clean it up. Don't worry about it. So. How long is the president going to stand there behind me? I'm getting a little nervous. You know?
I don't know. Do you want him to be on the screen with you, or what would make you happy?
Yeah, come on. You know, he actually sends me messages saying, "Dave, are we going to do our interview today?"
I mean, he is a little busy to be hanging out here.
Well, I think he could. I think he could do worse than have an interview with me. There are things I could probably add to him that he'd consider. Although, you know, I doubt that there's many things that he hasn't thought of.
No, it's pretty clear. He's
all right.
Keeping an eye on here.
Yeah, and look who we got. Oh my goodness! Just in time, we have our next guest, and apparently he's just back from his fellow Wyomingan. There was a funeral, sadly. And my next question has lots to say about religion, socialists, and communism. Please welcome all the way from, I think Missouri, Chris Adamo. So, did you go to the funeral?
That wasn't nice, Dave.
Oh God,
that wasn't nice. But I'll tell you something.
But
given how the same crowd, the rhinos, the Liz Cheney crowd, They politicized the whole thing. They refused to allow Trump and Vance to be there.
Really?
And there's sitting on the front seat, the front row, right there with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and the Bushes and the usual crowd of DC insiders. There's Mike Pence. Okay, so yeah, unfortunately,
well, that's that's good news, though. I mean, I like that. I mean, I like to know that.
It's necessary to know because we have right now we've got a bunch of scrambling going on in the GOP, and lots of things I could take off in 8 different rabbit trails for you if you want.
Well, we're gonna start down the rabbit trails, but it's good to know what your competition is doing. It's always good to know. Bush gave a very interesting speech during that. I listened to a lot of that, and I guess he was in love with this guy, Cheney, and Cheney was just supposed to be the guy to guide him as to who the VP should be, and he ended up being the VP. I find that kind of interesting.
Yeah, the DC crowd. I mean, the way they operate, it's dirty, it's underhanded. It's always a matter of climbing the ladder. You push the person in front of you up the ladder if you can, if that'll help you, and then you rip them off the ladder and get past them, and the first chance you get. The other thing you mentioned, Bush there, the Bush crowd, I don't know how much detail you've gone into with this yet, but the Bush crowd, these people are, at the very least, they're delusional, or they have a lot more dirty tricks up their sleeve than we expect, because the Bush crowd, honestly, is talking this week about strategizing to retake the Republican Party. So you and I are going to abandon Donald Trump, people like him, and we're going to go back to Jeb Bush. We're going to go back to, John McCain or Mitt Romney or Liz Cheney. We're going to go back to the insipid sellout of GOP rhino business as usual, because the Bushes say, hey, we've got the name. We're the family. We're the chosen.
This is why you're on the show every week almost.
You wouldn't put up with me otherwise, huh?
Yeah, probably not. Well, you owe me a pizza. You never gave me a pizza.
You didn't respond. I asked if you wanted a gefilte fish pizza.
I've never heard of a gefilte fish pizza.
They put pineapple on pizza in California. I mean, if you can put pineapple on pizza,
I can do pineapple. I've done that before.
Pineapple. That verges on sacrilege.
Okay, so that's a Jewish thing. A little fruit into something,
Well, if you want to do it Jewish, what's more Jewish than gefilte fish? Anyway, back on issues. I'm sorry.
Gefilte fish? What am I going to do? A gefilte fish and ham sandwich?
Oh, hey,
that's what.
I may have to give that a try once I get off the program.
Okay, I bet you will too. Throw a few noodles on it.
How's that?
Throw a few noodles on it, and you can have yourself lasagna. Lasagna fish.
So hey, I'm in between all the levity, which believe me, I enjoy. We're in a dangerous situation.
We're always in a dangerous situation.
It's getting worse. I'm telling you something.
I know.
If you look at America in about 1860, 1859, it's like the forces were lining up. You have frankly evil people fighting for slavery, fighting for human enslavement, but they do it. They don't come out and say, well, we want to be able to enslave whoever we want. No, they don't say that. They say it's all about states' rights. Let's put ourselves on the moral high ground so we can fight for absolute evil, human enslavement. It's all about states' rights. Abortion comes up, and it's we're not going to talk about killing unborn babies, which is not, by the way, a religious viewpoint. That's a biological fact, is that every abortion takes the life of a human baby. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk choice, women's rights, elevating women. Okay, they always put themselves on this phony moral high ground.
Right.
And we're at a point now, and the names right now there's a couple more on the list I didn't get, but it's Mark Kelly, who's senator from Arizona, Jason Crow, who's a representative from Colorado, and Maggie Goodlander, and I believe she's from New Hampshire.
We already played the clip.
Okay, and they're advocating sedition. The only thing left, and I don't say this as a joke, I'm telling you, we're in a very bad precipice right now. The only thing left is they haven't actually fired the cannons on Fort Sumter. And for those who know history, and we all should, and too many don't,
right? Yeah.
that was the kickoff of the United States Civil War. Okay.
Right.
They're counting on us not drawing a line in the sand that we won't let them cross. They're counting on us backing off. And how do they do it? They're on their moral high ground again. They're phony, hypocritical moral high ground. They're calling out Trump because he's saying that they deserve the death penalty. He's calling them seditious. They connected the rest of the dots, and you know what? They connected them correctly. Sedition, treason. What's the punishment for high treason? And it's in the Constitution.
Right.
But they're going to call out Trump on that to say, oh, look what he's doing. He's advocating murdering us. He's the bad guy. We're the good guys. We're just fighting for whatever their excuses for their sedition and treason. They need to be held to account.
I would say exactly. In fact, these guys are ex-military. They take extra kind of responsibilities.
They're not acting out of ignorance.
You know, they are supposed to be diligent in how they follow the Constitution more so than the average person.
They took you're right about the military. They took an oath then to uphold the Constitution. When they got into the Congress and the Senate, they took an oath then to uphold the Constitution.
A double concern about being in tune with the Constitution and being in agreement with it. That's what they pledged in two different pledging instances.
They swore an oath. They violated in both cases. They need to any military benefits, any military rank, they need to be stripped of those things, and they need to be kicked out of the U.S. Congress. We do not need people in the United States Congress who are advocating war against the U.S. because connect the dots a little bit more.
Yeah, well,
I like that, Jeffrey. Or John, I'm sorry.
No, I'm reading it now as we're talking. There are a whole lot of veterans who will not back down. Mess with us at your peril.
And I like the picture he put up there. It's we have got to stand our ground. They will push us as far as we let them.
Sure.
Meanwhile, and this is no less, this is more of those dots that are connected. Meanwhile, what we've got, this whole Tucker thing is proving to be totally, completely in concert with the Islamists, who are they're just another front of the same war against America. They're coming in, they're invading.
Give me an example of that, because you know what, I'm going back and forth between you and another great guest on my show, which is Mark McCloskey, and he is a personal friend of Tucker Carlson because of the case back in 2020 where they invaded his house, and I don't know, you know, he's sticking with him.
I was a big fan of Tucker Carlson back then.
Well, so was I.
There's a lot of people that you know what you
what
want to hear something.
What has he done to make you feel that he is not being what he was?
Well, let's connect him to another person who I was also a big fan of, who is totally like the plague, and that's Candace Owen.
Yeah,
they were saying the right things back when. And when he was defending Mark McCloskey, I would have defended Mark too, because that was purely a leftist attack on him. And I understand that loyalty. However, we saw what happened in the New York election. We're watching what's happening in Minneapolis, Dearborn, Michigan right now. They had a bunch of Jewish people surrounded by Islamists who were essentially going on the attack against them. Okay.
Yeah.
And we have things like this happening and we can't ignore it. And Tucker is covering for it. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm sorry. Tucker has they use the word drunk the Kool-Aid. That's what he's done.
He really is. Are you saying he's really anti-Semitic? Because that's what you're saying.
Absolutely. I think there's no question about that. This is not a matter of the fact that, well, if you don't agree with every single thing Netanyahu does, then we're going to attack you. No, because when Tucker confronted Ted Cruz, the way he framed it was, so do you support every single thing Netanyahu has ever done? Because if that's the only way you can say you support Israel. Well, do you support America that way, Dave? Do I support everything that Washington has ever done, that Biden ever did? No, it's not a matter of that. Do I support America? Yes. Okay. And Tucker framed it that way specifically to put Cruz in a false dilemma, and he did it to give cover to the anti-Semitism. And if you watch where he's coming from, it's anti-Semitic.
Why is he doing it?
You know why? I have several different theories.
Because Candace Owens at about the same time has broken with the Jewish community after being around Jews pretty much all her political life.
Right.
And I've sent her a few comments about it because
Sure.
Zionism, hate Zionism, and what are these Jews getting because they're just because they're at these universities and they're getting kept out of class and stuff like that.
We are seeing things right out of the brown shirts. Tell me something though, Dave. Tell me.
Yeah.
Do you dislike Chuck Schumer?
Do I dislike him?
Yes or no? Do you dislike Chuck Schumer?
He is a worthless POS.
Okay. Meaning you dislike him. Okay. Are you an anti-Semite?
Is that what that means? Yeah, I think that kind of means that, right?
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Does that make you an anti-Semite?
Well, no.
No. I mean, you dislike him.
It actually makes me a good Jew. Okay?
Not because he's Jewish, because he's a hardcore leftist. Okay.
Well, he's a traitor to Jews.
Well, and frankly, every Jewish person in America who still votes Democrat is a traitor to, or either that or they're just suicidal.
What are
but
the
the point being,
how about the Jews who voted for
Mamdani
Lohan?
Yep,
in New York.
Yeah, and there's that, and no, I don't understand that. But does this mean that you and I hate those people? Does this mean that we want to wipe them out because they're Jewish? No, it means that they're doing really stupid things because they've embraced leftist ideology. So if we talk about these issues on the basis of ideology, it's one thing. But if we talk about them on the basis of ethnicity, that's a whole different thing. And that's where you enter into this evil. And for whatever reason, Tucker has gone there. He's not picking out specific policies of Netanyahu and saying, he needs to change these. Because if he started talking policy and you start talking about the things Netanyahu might have done wrong, people that got hurt in Gaza that shouldn't have or whatever, then you got this much bigger mass on the other side of what the Islamists have been doing. So he doesn't do it that way. He talks about it on the basis of Zionism, okay, which is somehow the biggest evil in the world, and it's a matter of changing the subject. You might remember where this comes from. You got my book handy there.
Word, by the way, I'm a Zionist. I believe in the land of Israel.
It's become
as the Jewish state, which God, it's the only state He's ever given to a people.
And guess what? After 2,000 years of dispersal around the globe, He brought them back. And you'll hear leftists completely contradict themselves on this, because in one breath they'll tell you, well, those are just a bunch of ethno-Europeans. They don't have anything to do.
About it. Where's Palestine at? Who was the king of Palestine? Was there a king of Palestine?
Do you know where the name Palestine came from?
Sure, it came from the Romans.
The Romans. They were doing it.
Right.
They were trolling the people there. Because they were saying that it's the Philistine land, okay, and they did it as an in your face thing. Point is, these Democrats, these anti-Semites and many of the same people involved, these anti-Semites, in one breath they'll say that these ethno-Europeans are from all over the place. They're not Jewish, and so they don't have any right to their ancient land. In the next breath, they'll tell you, it's all those Jews that are doing this. They're all Jews. They're all these evil Jews. Okay, so the point is they're either an ethnic group or they're not.
The latest is from Candace Owen. The Jews are all black. Okay.
Hey,
now I realize
Jewish lives matter.
I wait a minute. I realize that in the summer I probably get a few more rays where I get a lot darker. In fact, when I was a high school wrestler, I went to practice one time in the middle of February or something like that, and I was the only white guy there. So what happened was 15 other guys, and they're all black. They wanted to see who was the blackest guy. I finished fourth from the bottom. I mean, it wasn't bad, quite frankly.
Then maybe you can have. Maybe you can we get together. You can make me a dish of ham hocks and gefilte fish in.
Ham hocks. Yeah, my wife put ham and beans on the table.
Ham hocks and gefilte fish. I'm gonna quote you on that one. You're half black, half Jewish.
Well,
So, yeah, why not?
I married a Christian woman. She's a minister.
German woman.
German minister woman whose job
We make ham and beans.
Job description is to convert as many Jews as possible, and she's got one of them Solomon swords with her.
I love it, Lisa. That we need to explain to them you don't lose your Jewish faith when you accept the Jewish Messiah. It's just that simple. That's probably the biggest scam that's been pulled on them. They think that they have to renounce Judaism to accept the Jewish Messiah.
He lived as a Jew and he died as a Jew.
And
say what you want to, but he never.
And when he was resurrected, and the Apostle Paul, who was also a Jewish, big time religious leader, a Pharisee, the Apostle Paul said in his epistles, in his letters to the different churches, different people, he talked about the importance of the Jewish faith as a foundation for who they were as Christians. The two are inextricably linked. And for those to try and detach them, they're trying to ignore everything from Genesis all the way through Isaiah, Daniel, Ezekiel, all the way through the Gospels, the book of Acts, the epistles, and the very last book in the Bible, the book of Revelation. And so, yeah, that message is consistent throughout. So,
we follow the old Bible. We follow what the 10 Commandments are supposed to. We're supposed to follow it. I don't.
Oh, come on. You haven't. You didn't even make it this morning, Dave. We can go down the list there. So
excuse them. How many rules did God have? He had 10, and the last one was to not worship any god but
no. That's the first one.
Okay, first one could be,
because if you don't get that one right, you're going to mess up the rest of them.
Okay, I got that one right, didn't I? So where do you come off? Where did God make the exception? Where did that happen? You show me where that happened. Where did he say, okay, but you can also worship Jesus and Mary?
Okay.
Now
if we're going to get down to nitty gritty, you need to go.
I can understand the person that isn't Jewish.
Isaiah 9:6. It's out of the Old Testament. Isaiah 9:6. I was going to wait 2 weeks to quote this to you, but I'll give it to you today.
Yeah.
Isaiah 9:6. For unto us a child is born, for unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. In the same exact sentence, he's called the Son and the Everlasting Father.
Hershey Schwartz. And for some reason, nobody took it. It didn't take on what they meant to. God Himself did not ever cancel. Do not worship anyone.
No, Jesus Himself said, "I did not come to abolish those things; I came to fulfill them." We can talk about this all day if you want. However, like I said, Isaiah 9:6, and if you want to see,
every Jew in the world ought to convert. Is that correct?
Not convert. No, not convert.
What should they do?
They become Messianic Jews. They accept the rest of the story. You remember Paul Harvey, the rest of the story? I'm giving you the rest of the story.
The biggest traitors to Judaism are...
Hey, Lisa, is he going to have me back on again after this?
Of course I will.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Why? Why?
He sure will.
I love it because you don't have an argument for that.
I just completed
you
the
haven't
message
said
for you.
how God has said this.
Isaiah 9:6.
Jesus did not say it when he was alive. He didn't slap the Jews around. He did everything. What the hell was the dinner he was at the day before he was
the last dinner?
The last dinner. What was that?
He was explaining.
What was that dinner?
I'm trying to tell you. If we're gonna go here, I'll go here. He was explaining that you, me, everybody else. It says in the Old Testament, our greatest righteousness is but filthy rags. Those 10 commandments, we all blow it. We can't do it on our own. We need His fulfillment of God's promise, because we can't do it on our own. This is the Messiah. This is the Messiah spoken in Isaiah chapter 53. That's Jesus Christ, our Lord. That's our sacrifice. He made the sacrifice because we blew it. And if you want to go down the 10 commandments and one by one, and let's talk about how we blew it, I'll be glad to do that.
Since you don't want to answer it, I'll do it.
I did answer it.
Passover Seder. 2 words. Passover Seder. Look it up.
The last
Jesus
dinner
was there with his people. He was there. Okay, that's the last thing he did was perform his loyalty to Judaism by being at the Passover.
Actually, that wasn't the last thing he did, because he was taken from there.
You're talking about stuff that I don't understand.
Well, that's why I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, I know, but
that wasn't the last thing he did.
Another Christian attack.
No. I actually want to interject on something else, because I'm on a Bible plan where I'm reading the whole Bible in a year and a half. Right now, I'm working through the Old Testament. And for anybody that says the land of Israel was not given by God for the Jewish people, either have not read Deuteronomy through Joshua, where he led them out of Egypt into the promised land, or they don't believe what it says, because it's very descriptive about what peoples were in that land that they drove out and where geographically the boundaries are. And it's the state of Israel. So anybody that wants to counteract that, go read in Joshua and Deuteronomy. It's going to detail it for you. And then if you still don't believe it, then I just would tell you don't believe the word of God. Then.
You don't want to believe the truth. Absolutely.
No, God doesn't want us. If God wanted us to know the truth, we'd all be Christian. Okay, if he came down and look,
you know what? I kind of like
that.
I
didn't say this in the original commandments, but okay, this is the way it is. Okay, if I believe that was God, yeah, sure.
Read Isaiah 53. I'm going to give you one parting thought on this. One parting thought, because you said the last thing Jesus did was the Passover. Okay, he actually tells you when he did the last thing he did. You go look it up, because when he did it, he said, "It is finished." Okay, at that point, that was the last thing he did. That's the significance. Okay, now.
Okay, let me read this. Patricia Oden Maxwell. Pay attention, it's your mom. Chris, I will send you a book that explains the 3 groups of people on the earth: the Jews, Gentiles, and the church. All 3 have different rules, so to speak. We are not why? I don't know what that should mean.
We are not to push the Jewish people to accept Jesus at this time.
People to accept Jesus at this time. They can, but not required. This is from a minister.
Okay, amen. And just for the record, Patricia, I'm not pushing. I'm just stating the truth, and that's what I do. And so that's what. If
and you know what? That's what I do. But we are not in agreement as to what the actual truth is.
You've got the truth up to this point, and I just take it and complete it. Okay, now.
No.
Now let's go on to the fact that there's
7,000
illegal truckers have been taken off the roads of the United States of America. 7,000. Now these are that's a drop in the bucket, but it's a good drop in the bucket that's been removed. Okay, and the thing that I have noticed a pattern of in recent years, and I'd ask for your listeners if they've seen this same pattern. One of the things I have seen is that a lot of these illegal truckers, they're Muslims. And guess what? They have total contempt for every woman who's out there driving in a car. And I have seen hideous abuses of women being pushed out of the way, being crowded and things like this by these semi drivers. And I'm guessing a lot of them are Muslims that are on our road pushing Islam on the road by pushing these women around. And so this 7,000 illegals, it's a drop in the bucket, but it's a step in the right direction.
Well, let me add to that. The Muslims are praying in busy cities more and more in public, especially in Europe, but now maybe in the United States, shutting down access to public. What's this all about? What if Jews and Christians decided they were going to pray 5 times a day and shut down all the traffic?
It wouldn't be allowed. The Islamists are like leftists. They push it and they count on, and sadly, it's a safe bet too often. They count on our side not pushing back. They keep pushing.
57 Muslim countries, give or take a few.
Yeah.
And they live by these laws. And now you've got a major city in New York City. It's going to have a mayor, Zohan Mandavi.
And by the way,
yes,
as per usual, as is typical, He's already backing off of all the socialist lures that he used to get elected. Like, can't do this, can't do that, and he's already pulling back from this. And so that's what it always is with socialism. You throw out the bait there so that people will fall
part
for
of
it.
Stays. I mean, you got this deal where, do you see the guy that lit up a woman?
Yep.
He was how many times was he? And this was Chicago. 49 times. He was arrested and convicted 49 times. What were they thinking when they let him out the last time?
Wasn't my relative, wasn't my wasn't somebody
Yeah,
I know.
exactly.
So why do I care?
That's just the mayor of Chicago, the idiot that he is.
If it was idiocy, it would be forgivable, Dave. If it was idiocy, it would be forgivable. This is not idiocy. This is part of an agenda.
No, it's a sickness.
It's a sick. It's a sick agenda. I'll agree with you. But the
what
point
if it was
is,
his family? What would he be doing? What if it
that's
was
it?
him?
Exactly. It isn't his family though. So why bother? It's not Pelosi's relatives that are being supplanted by illegals in jobs, things like that. So why does she care? She can get votes from these people.
Yeah.
When it's about them, all of a sudden they care. Do you remember when they tried to put those windmills up off the coast of Martha's Vineyard, and the Democrats, your pro-environment, global warming people, and all that. We all need windmills all across the country. And when they tried to put them up near Martha's Vineyard, all the Democrats came out and protested.
Right.
When Ron DeSantis sent a plane load of illegals to Martha's Vineyard to get them out of Florida, they all made sure those people got off the island. When it's them, they care. When it's you, you're just the rabble. They don't care.
You know, I've always wondered this ever since I've been looking at your page, your Facebook page. Why is there a huge bolt of lightning looming through your head on Facebook? What is that about?
It's about trolling the lefties. Okay.
I'm not a lefty. Is that? Have I been trolled by you?
I don't know. I've been wondering about you lately.
You think I'm a lefty? I'm a lot of things, buddy, but I ain't a lefty.
Well, you call me a Liz Cheney fan. I figure I can get even on that.
Well, I was kidding. I think.
So, let me see. I'm trying to see the other things I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, okay, because you got about 2 minutes. Go ahead, 3 minutes.
Okay, there's the Trump $2,000 dividend that he's looking at paying to Americans from all the tariffs. Okay, and again, the left is having screamy fits. We can't afford it. We can't afford it. We can't afford it. When he tried to build the wall back in his first term, they were talking about the deficit for the first time in decades. We couldn't afford the cost of the wall because that would break the country.
2
Now we
plus
can't
2
afford.
does not equal 4. Okay, that's all they're going to do.
But tell me something.
Matter, anything he does is going to be
exactly. These people are willing to pay how many hundreds of thousands to every illegal family coming into this country. They just hand out the checks, the food stamp checks,
because they're not giving it to them. The taxpayers
but
are
now,
giving it to them.
But now, if you get $2,000, which might make you more supportive of American sovereignty and American making America great, things like that. Now all of a sudden they all care about that $2,000. They don't. You, the little guy, they were going to uphold you and everything as long as you voted Democrat. Now that you might get $2,000 to help you out, they don't want you to have it. This is who the left is.
There it is. All right. So other than Dave Weinbaum Show, where can people find you and buy your book, Rules for Defeating Radicals?
It's at Amazon. It's a great Christmas present for parents who want to send their kids off to college armed with the truth because they're going to get bombarded with lies. And so I'm encouraging people, you got kids home from college for Christmas, get them this book, have them read it, have them be forewarned is forearmed.
And let's talk politics. Don't forget about it, okay? Because it's your country.
Absolutely. And, you want Christmas next year and the year after?
Don't shy away from any argument. Just be as kind as you can, but tell them what you think. Tell them the truth that you know.
Speak the truth that you know. Amen.
Right what you were saying about getting checks and all that other stuff. Those in renter's hell are stuck in the belly of the lease.
Sadly, that's not funny. That's true.
Yeah, and get the other one because he deserves it. That's not funny.
What do you know from funny, you bastard?
Yeah. Look at he's pissed off now. Okay, are you pissed off?
No, it's true. It's the borrower is servant to the lender. That's in Proverbs.
I thought you were mad because of the Eddie Murphy quote. I always use that. And it is a pleasure to have you. We think pretty much the same way. Of course, I have evidence, and I don't know what you got, but anyways, Chris, you have a great Thanksgiving with your lovely bride and their family. Okay,
you too, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, my friend.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. Okay, it's a pretty heated argument there, isn't it? Is Don out there waiting?
I thought I heard him.
Okay. All right. He can come in if he wants to. There he is. There. Oh my God. There he is. Were you listening? Were you have your ear by the door or something? Or
I'm psychic or psychotic. I can never get those two straight. I am. I'm. This is Real Job Friday for me. That's why I'm.
Oh.
Have my
you got your
real
uniform
job
on.
clothes on. So yeah.
You got any manure on you from the chickens?
So that's not my department.
It's not.
I am in a different department.
You're not in the department of crap.
Yeah.
You're a politician, for God's sakes.
Hey,
come on.
So we segregate duties on the ranch. And,
duties on the ranch.
Yeah,
He's already talking like that.
So we're
duty on ranches.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, this is funny stuff. All righty. So you're here. You wanted me to. I got some tough questions.
Okay. Well, hey, lay a tough question on me.
Yeah, because you wanted me to tell you all the questions.
My favorite color? Is that what you're getting ready to ask me?
Favorite color?
Yeah.
Probably tan on your head is what it is.
Well, it's not my favorite.
Everybody I talk to these days, they're bald. I mean, JJ and
they want to copy us.
Okay.
That success breeds success, right?
Yeah.
So they want to do what we do.
God.
We're Americans.
Well, let me introduce you because some people might not know you, and I know you.
Not everybody's been in jail in Miller County, for instance.
For instance, okay.
Yeah.
He's a chicken farmer, an engineer, state representative, running for House Senate, and he's part of the Bruise Brothers with, dare I say his name, Bill Hardwick, who recently did my show on January or July the 4th. I knew it was one of those. Okay.
So
which was great. And they did a good job.
So I want to point out that the chicken department is a wholly owned subsidiary of Mayhew Ranches Incorporated. So
my daughter works. She has an office in St. Robert, and she said she followed this truck on 44 and it was going really slow.
Yeah.
And there was all sorts of chicken feathers coming out and all sorts of clucking going on.
Okay. I thought this was
and
she
thought thought she saw the name the name Mayhew on the truck. Was that you?
No, I don't think so. I think you're making that up.
No, I'm not actually making it up.
I thought this show was about
I'm actually not making this up. That's what she told me.
Yeah.
Okay.
This show's about the truth. It's not about internet conspiracies.
What I'm asking, was that you?
No, I don't have a truck that looks anything like that.
You've answered. Asked and answered. You are absolved. Whatever guilt you have, you can take that up with.
Thank you, counsel.
With wherever you go to pray.
Yes. No.
So snap up. SNAP recipients.
Yep.
They
43 million of them.
They must re-up for benefits now because of they had control of that because they shut down the government. Schumer shut down the government. So now they looked into it. And as a byproduct of Schumer's Democratic shutdown, they found fraud up 40%. Fraud.
Oh, my
of
goodness.
40% to 186,000.
No.
Dead people getting the food supplements.
They don't eat much.
500,000.
Yeah.
So what? So is this in every agency that we have under the Democrats.
So SNAP is yet another federal program, right?
Yes,
like Medicaid and all that, where a significant majority of the dollars that we spend on it are just simply wasted. Let's think about that for a minute.
They're wasted. They're stolen or cheated on.
It is all of the above.
And when it's all the above, who benefits?
Well, nobody. But unfortunately,
no, you're wrong. The Democratic Party, because they're giving them all the free food and all the supplements that they're getting votes out of this.
Right. So the point that should be drawn from this is that 43 million people are getting a SNAP benefit of some kind or another in a country of about 300 million people. Well, that's a significant percentage.
I'd say so.
And while there may be people who have food challenges every month, and I do appreciate those, and that's who actually that it was designed for. There's a significant number of them that are receiving benefits that could get by just fine without them. Now, I'll probably get an argument on that issue, but I challenge someone to show me that what is that 1/6 of our community, for instance, it has to have food stamps. So the truth is that the thing that we already know, that the solution to poverty is a job.
Yeah.
And right now, even, we've seen these numbers coming out about the labor market and where it's at, but those are jobs that's not around here. I still see help wanted signs, and I know of not one single employer that is paying.
McDonald's is hiring.
Exactly.
Damn right.
The highway department is hiring.
Yeah.
Okay. So
everybody's hiring.
So for instance, that job at the highway department to drive a truck is $26 an hour, and people say, "Well, I can make more than that driving a truck for Walmart." Okay, go get that job.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And that is true. You can get a job driving a truck at Walmart for $90,000 a year or thereabouts. I'm not hiring people for them, but that's what I'm told.
Not bad.
$26 an hour to drive a truck plowing snow, for instance, for the highway department, with all the benefits of being a state employee, which are significant.
What happens if there's no snow?
Well, they have other duties for them. But
you said, doing the snow. I thought that was a specialty.
But the
that
point
you do it once a year, you get $90,000. That sounds like a pretty good gig. I'd consider that.
Yes.
No, you wouldn't.
Sure, I would.
No.
I can learn to drive a truck.
You hate to drive.
But that is a good point because
the
highway department even hires part-time people to do that snow plowing.
Yeah.
So so the reality here is that the only reason you don't have a job, well, there might be a few other ones, but the prime reason is because you don't need one, right? Your food's taken care of, your health care is taken care of, et cetera. Now there are a few.
Now what's wrong with that?
Well, that's wrong because we created a society that becomes dependent on the government for everything that they have, and it creates a situation where that becomes a legacy and a lifestyle choice, where it should be just exactly the opposite. You should be wanting to move up your station in life.
Okay.
Now I know I'm going to get those folks that say, "Well, what about Billy in this condition and that condition?"
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's what the safety net was created for, was to give that person a hand up, not a hand out.
Right.
And so whenever we started turning it into a lifestyle choice, then what happens? Well, we saw what happens.
Yeah.
20 million people will do whatever they can, pay whatever amount, sell drugs, whatever, to get across that river, because once they get across that river, they're getting $45,000 a year just by setting their feet on the ground in our country.
Yeah.
Now you say, "Oh, they don't give that to them in cash." No, they don't. But they get that in food stamps, free education, and all those other things that you and I as taxpayers pay for. So our problem right now is that we have too many folks who are adherents of democracy. Ooh, whoa, yeah, world's coming to an end, right? No, let's make a distinction between what form of government we have right now and democracy. We are a representative republic.
Right.
Now, a democracy, the best way to describe that, I've heard it described a couple of different ways, but a democracy, a true democracy, is where 51% make 49% pay for everything.
Yeah.
And so we have kind of pushed things that direction under the guise of being responsive to the people. The amendment where the senators, the United States senators, became popularly elected, all we did was add 50 more members of the House of Representatives. Okay, there's a clear reason why our Constitution was set up the way it was, and to have those senators appointed or elected by those state legislators is because that there has to be someone who is the brakes on the democracy part of the democratic, what is the democracy part of that equation, right? We are a representative democracy. And so we had the House of Representatives popularly elected, which responded to the people, right? And then we have the Senate, which responded to the needs of the state. And I'm not talking about the federal government state. I'm talking about the state as in each sovereign state in our union.
Well, but they also do things on a national basis. Senators, especially, they have all sorts of committees about all the subjects that the American population are affected by.
True.
So it's not just a state job.
Because it is the United States, right?
Right.
And so those senators, which is the reason why it evolved in the 2/3 majority to pass anything out of the Senate, was because that had to be a consideration in there.
Well, wait a minute. Two-thirds support usually. Now there's a difference between that and a straight up one.
50% plus one.
Yeah, 51.
Yeah.
So what is the difference? Which ones are you have 7, and I would say 60% or 67% is also the one that is like a Supreme Court justice or something like that. I don't know. You tell me.
Well,
because it's broken down into a lot of different sections.
But you have to try to figure out the reason why they came up with that rule in the Senate. The Constitution says we've got to have a Senate, but the rules how the Senate and the House operate are created by the House and the Senate, right? They create their rules on how they're going to operate. And so it was recognized early on that, if it is only left up to popular will, right? Well, then the people are always going to vote for free ice cream for everybody.
Yeah.
But somebody has got to pay for the free ice cream. And so while you can envision a time where the House of Representatives that is popularly elected will respond to that kind of a, will of the people kind of thing, the Senate, if they're not connected to a popular vote, well, then their concern is going to be more, or should be more of the how are we going to pay for this thing, right? That's daddy. Mommy's over in the Senate. I probably shouldn't say it this way, but daddy's got to be the guy that says, "No, wait a minute, we can't afford to do free ice cream for everybody because somebody's got to make the ice cream, right?" And so that was the theory, right? And that worked for several years until Woodrow Wilson came along. And then we decided that we needed to popularly elect senators too. Well, that was the first time. That was that was actually the first time that we did something that structurally changed the Constitution, that we made a change in the Constitution that changed the entire framework of how it was supposed to work. Now, if you read the Federalist Papers and you look at the reasons why this form of government was created, was because of the experiences that we had had with parliamentary democracies and monarch democracies and monarchies and empires and all of that, right?
Kings.
And so the whole system was set up to be the checks and balances of 3 equal branches of government, and so that there would be an adversarial relationship between those 3 branches for a good reason, is that the way I keep my eye on you is through an adversarial relationship. If we were all,
you don't know how adversarial I am. I'll tell you what.
If we were all buddies,
I want to know,
right?
House and Senate term limits.
Yeah.
Okay. There's nobody in your organization, in your field, as a politician, they're not going to vote for this ever.
Okay.
So that changes the whole thing, because the original structure of our government was that we have people show up. I don't even know if there was pay involved, and then you had to leave after a couple of years.
Yeah. Well, you did because it wasn't financially advantageous for you to be there, right? You had a farm, right, and all those things. Okay, so
why? So hasn't that changed everything?
Okay, so I probably shared a lot of your opinion on that particular issue a few years ago. But that was, because I didn't see the inner workings of the machine. Now I'm going to get accused of, being pro term limits. But really what we shouldn't be focusing on term limits, because the term limits really isn't the problem. Because what term limits bring you is that the lobbyists and the bureaucrats then run the place. Okay. So what should we do instead? Okay. The control of the purse strings. All right. So there's a real simple solution to this, actually. And all we really need to do is this. So is it 17th Amendment? Is the 17th Amendment the IRS? 17th Amendment's the IRS.
I don't know.
Well, whatever that amendment is. So we get rid of the IRS amendment. All the states then collect all the taxes, and then they basically pay a franchise fee back to the federal government.
Okay.
To do those 17 enumerated powers.
Well, there wasn't any taxes, IRS, until 1913.
Correct. And so that's when the wheels came off of the system.
Yeah.
So de Tocqueville said in 1837, he said, the United States will survive as a democratic republic until her politicians how to figure out how to buy your vote with your money.
Bingo.
And so what really needed to be happen was the original intent is that taxation was done at by the states, and then the states through their senators and representatives then would maybe not this direct, but then the states would do all of the things like education, health, welfare, and all of those things that are better done at the lowest possible level in the states, because the states know how to respond to whatever it is their population needs. Okay, so what does that do for us? Well, it institutes term limits at the federal level instantly, because now there's no profit motive involved, right? If the only thing I've got control over is the defense budget, which is significant, I would grant you that. But truthfully, the defense budget pales in comparison to the health budget. If you look at just the state of Missouri right now, 40% of our entire budget, the entire budget of the state of Missouri is Medicaid.
Yeah.
One program. And you know what? As we started this conversation out, most of that money doesn't ever make it out as a benefit.
Yeah.
Most of that money is to pay off lobbyists.
Yep.
I mean, believe it. The companies that lobbyists work for.
And drug companies and hospitals.
And
doctors.
See, you are wise beyond your years, young man.
That's why I do this show.
Yeah.
Because I was dumb about 18 years ago.
Even if I had to lead you into the answer like a puppy
for
dog,
most people, it'll take 30 seconds. For you, it takes, this is another benefit of being a politician. You can explain things easier in 30 minutes than you would think, because I could have told you in 1 minute exactly what it was, and okay.
But the reality is that if you want to solve the problems in Washington, D.C., then the state of Missouri and 37 other states would pass my resolution.
Yeah.
And my resolution says that
what is the 37? You're talking about the
to get a constitutional convention.
Okay.
And so the 37 states have passed this to abolish I think it's the 17th Amendment.
Yeah.
All taxation is done at the state level, except for that which the United States Congress can do, tariffs and those kind of things.
Yeah.
Then the states pay basically a franchise fee based on their pro rata share of the budget. But I also added in there the requirement that in any year that the federal government does not pass a budget, the states are not obligated to pay anything to the federal government.
That's a good idea.
Now, imagine that scenario. And now your United States Congress people are going to be real responsive to the people, right? Plus, there is no more incentive for me to give some congressman $100,000 campaign contribution. Now I'm going to run down to the states to do that. And you say, okay, I'm just moving the problem down there. Well, you know what? Anybody in the state of Missouri can get to the Capitol in 4 hours.
Yeah.
And so doesn't it make much more sense to put that collection, that money, that tax a lot closer, to put those elected representatives a lot closer to the fire? And so now all of a sudden, guess what? Even we in Jeff City have to become more responsive to our people. So the solution isn't term limits. The solution is the money.
A lot of good in what you say, and I say that as someone that often gives you a lot of crap, which you deserve.
I know.
But the IRS was weaponized by the Biden administration. That's another thing the IRS is not going to be able to do under your precept,
right? Because
they were weaponized to go after the American people. All of them are going to have guns. 880,000 more of them, with guns.
An accountant with a gun.
And to tell you, I don't like that. I don't like that Mayhew sign out there. Could you get rid of that, please?
Right.
Okay, so that's a good thing.
You mean they said please?
But no, they had a gun. Remember?
Oh, okay.
They probably said please, but they had a gun. How many times do you want me to tell you that? They had a gun. What does an IRS agent have a gun for goodness sakes? And also,
well, if he's a resident of Pulaski County, I can tell you why. But I mean,
and also things like Obamacare, where you have this massive bill that was thousands of pages long, which I read most of, and suddenly came on a thing that said, we will have...
JP, he said that with a straight face.
I heard it too. I didn't see it, but I heard it.
What did I do?
Which I read
he said,
most of.
I read most of it.
I read most of it. I didn't read it all, but I got to the point to where it said that we're going to have a militia in 2 different places in the Obamacare bill.
Right.
Why are you laughing at that? I don't understand, but
we're not laughing at that.
You don't know that. That's because you didn't read it. And I'm saying
you got to read it. You got to pass it to find out what's in it, Dave.
Well, I did. I was doing it. Okay, and it had two distinctive militias, set up in it, where the president of the United States would be in charge, and it was talking about basically the population. In other words, the guns were going to be turned towards us. And I started talking about it, and sure enough, it disappeared. Now, maybe I was dreaming, maybe I wasn't, but I saw that.
You are a child of the 60s, so
immediately as something that was a threat to America, right there.
What?
Having a militia that's run by the president that's not connected to any other militia, but has the earning possibility through Obamacare
but it works so well in Venezuela and Russia and China.
Well, goodbye. Should I buy you a ticket? Are you going to tax it out of us? Okay.
Well, and I can tell you something that I saw personally was under the Biden administration when they were trying to hire those 80,000 some odd IRS agents. The job description on usajobs.gov. And it was, you will carry a firearm and you have to have firearm training. It was in there. I saw it. And
so
I
what
remember
does that
seeing
mean?
that and thinking, why would you need a gun unless you're just for self-protection? But I suspect it was obviously a lot more than that.
Well, so I'm sure that these job want ads were in places like Chicago and New York. If they would have done it in Pulaski County, I could have fixed them up with 2,000 or 3,000 people that didn't need firearm training. They were ready to go. So, of course, they don't much care for the IRS either, but that's a different problem. That's going to be their job to sort that one out. But at least half of their training would be done, right? Hey, 1 out of 2 ain't bad, right?
No. Yeah, very funny. Very funny.
What?
Well, you can joke about this, but I'm saying it's serious stuff, and it's serious stuff to be wondering at this point what they were thinking back then.
No,
you know what they were thinking now, but we didn't back then.
Oh, I did.
Oh, I did too.
Right.
I got columns I can show you
no.
where I was talking about this in Jewish World Review.
So we spent 8 years with Obama and 4 with Biden.
Same thing.
Basically, in the emperor's new clothes kind of a scenario, right?
Yeah.
Who are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes?
And
right?
then you got the. I think it was a good thing that they stole the election, and I believe they stole the election. Prove me wrong.
No,
at this
I think
point,
it's pretty obvious.
Back in 2020,
Right.
But then you got the 4 years difference between Donald Trump, who was being destroyed or trying to be destroyed through lawfare and wrongful impeachments, and so now that with that knowledge, and then the knowledge of what the Biden administration did over those years, and we're still getting it. We're still getting people examined, indicted, or whatever. We know the difference between good policy and bad policy, and what Biden was trying to do to the United States was make it a monarchy. Okay, him and Obama.
Right.
So
Well,
that's why this stuff is important to find out before it happens.
No, well, exactly. Back in the old days, they used to call those people prophets, but a lot of times it was just, hey, that's the logical.
Call it what you want to, but if X meets Y and Y meets X, then you got something maybe different than just the individual things.
So I was going to say that in a different way. It's a logical.
See, I predicted that.
It's the logical conclusion, right? And a logical conclusion. That's where.
Come on, what are you doing? Come on.
It's where you assemble the facts and then you arrange them in a way where you reach a conclusion.
And you reach a conclusion, right? That's why it's called paranoia.
But in
a lot of places, which I kind of have a little.
But Trump, Trump reminds me of the story of Elijah in the Bible with the priest of Baal. Where he challenges them. Well, let's see whose God lights the fire first, right? And then, of course, they're dancing around theirs and praying, and nothing's happening. And Elijah says, "Pour water on mine. Just keep pouring water on mine, and I'll wait my turn. Not a problem." And then he stood there and he goes, "Are you sure your God's awake?" Right? Maybe
I remember this even.
Be louder. Maybe he just can't hear you. You guys just need to shout louder. And so they get all.
He was goading them.
Yeah,
right.
And so he, so nothing happens, and they're sitting around there trying to figure out why Baal hasn't, lit their fire. And Elijah goes, "Look, guys, let me show you how easy this is. God, would you please light my altar?" Boom, lightning bolt, and then he put enough down there that it cooked the priest of Baal too.
Yeah,
right.
That's right.
And it was like. Drop my mic, right?
Yeah.
And
that's a good story, right?
Yeah. No, but that kind of reminded me of Trump. They did all these things. They persecuted him. And then he turns around and he's successful. And what is their only choice? We ain't got a crime problem in Chicago. We don't need the National Guard to clean up like Washington, D.C. Hey, we're only killing 400 young African-American men this year.
Yeah.
So we're a lot better off.
To them, and the mayor of Chicago is black. Black lives don't matter.
Apparently they don't.
Okay.
And that's the sad truth.
Absolutely.
Is that for political expediency, just like Chuck Schumer's shutdown, it was for political expediency, which they even admitted.
Yeah.
They admitted to their voters, we're going to make you suffer because we want a deal to make our donors rich.
Yeah, well,
right?
I don't know if they've said it that way, but that's what they mean.
The obvious conclusion, right?
Yeah.
Use your brain, use your frontal cortex. This is easy to figure out. $1.5 trillion. Let's do the math on 43 million people. That's a lot of money that I can just give those 43 million people.
I am so shocked at the amount of your knowledge.
Cynicism?
Your knowledge. No, your knowledge. You're so smart. Okay.
He's wanting something from me, ain't he, JP?
No. Let's talk about the Guardians system here. And we're almost at the end. I've asked you only one of the questions. The Guardian system here. as you get older, people, a lot of people are kidnapped by their own kids, maybe their wives.
Yeah.
And they're committed to go to these homes. And once you get in there, it's hard to get out. A lot of people are stuck there.
Right.
I'm 77 right now.
Right.
And anyone else out there a little nervous about this?
So this also another thing I'm going to be working on this session is mental health courts. Right now in Missouri.
Why are you looking at me when you're saying that?
On that commitment thing, I'm thinking sometimes it's necessary. So it's not a bad thing to have.
Getting a little paranoid here.
Have adult supervision. Some of us need that more than others. But we currently have drug courts scattered throughout the state.
Yeah.
They're successful. But we also statute allows for mental health courts, and some of our counties do have it. But what I would like to do is combine those two into a mental health court. So a lot of these issues that you're talking about, you can't just arbitrarily commit with some bureaucrat somewhere, someone to an institution of some kind or another. That there should be a legal process involved in doing that. Now, my ultimate goal with the mental health court is to try to move some of these folks, like homeless people and folks like that, and drug addicted people through the system so that they get the help that they need.
Yeah.
Because the smart money is to turn that person back into a productive citizen.
Sure.
Now, too many times we're spending money and devoting resources to enabling those people. And so we did it years ago when we decided that mental health folks had rights and that they should be able to wander around the public, much to their own harm.
Yeah.
And
the harm of people around them.
I'll use a really bad term for this, but the do-gooder mentality is like, they shouldn't be restricted. They have a freedom of choice. But the reality is they don't have a freedom of choice. And so those mental health patients, unfortunately, those folks who need mental health help, they end up getting involved in crime, not because they are criminals at heart. It's because they have a mental condition.
Yeah.
And had we helped that person out, got them the treatment that they needed, and converted them into a productive citizen, wouldn't that be the smarter money?
Yeah, and let's face it, some of them aren't going to come out of those.
Oh, that's true.
But there's got to be cause for that.
Right.
It's got to be cause, and there has to be a way out for people that were mistakenly put in there.
No, but that brings up the idea of the mental health court. So there wouldn't be an arbitrary, some bureaucrat decides that you need to, that on their own unilaterally decides that, oh yeah, you need to be institutionalized, and then the estate ends up paying for it and those kind of things. No, there should be the appropriate determination, and the only way you can do that is through the court system. So
okay, yeah. All right. So let me see what else. Oh, I wanted to say this in one of my interviews, but I didn't get to it. Chemtrails, are they real? And there's a guy named Dane Wigington. He's a geoengineering guy, which you're kind of an engineer, right? Controlling population, crops, hidden by agencies in our own government. Now, what are your thoughts on that? We all see those things out there.
Okay,
what's going on?
So there is. It's like a lot of these things that you see on the internet. There may be more than a grain of truth. I won't discount it entirely, but we have known how to do cloud seeding for a long time, right? But it's an extremely expensive process. So the theory is sound that there are some of these things that are available. Now, as far as chemicals, mind control drugs, and those kind of things, okay, that works great in science fiction, but from a practical standpoint, doesn't work too good. Especially if you're talking about the contrails that we see crossing the sky every day. So a lot of folks have pointed to that. Oh, there's so many of them. Well, have you ever looked at what is that application where you can track flights, where you can see the little airplane flying across the country? We're a lot of air traffic. And so it's when the conditions are right, because temperature inversions and things like that, that water vapor that comes out of the back of jets, and all of them, it will freeze and it will leave that trail running across the sky. Well, that's not a chemtrail, that's a contrail. And it does you no good to spread mind control drugs at 30,000 feet. That will never make it to the ground in the first place.
What they're talking about is stuff like aluminum, and
you-
other items that could cause eventual death and illness, as well as destroying or even helping crops and animals.
Aluminum, the metal, doesn't degrade well. It's not like iron, right? That will rust away. That's the reason why
it gets down to it actually gets down from the chemtrails.
No, absolutely. But for what purpose?
Like I said, for crop control, maybe for population control.
But in order for it to affect crops, it has to oxidize. And aluminum has aluminum metal. I'm not talking about the various different combinations, the molecules that you have aluminum in them, but aluminum, the metal, doesn't oxidize very well. That's the reason why we use it for airplane metal, right? It's because it doesn't rust. So I'm going to drop all this aluminum, but to what effect? Now, if they were telling me that aluminum sulfate or one of these other things, that gives it a vehicle to affect perhaps crops and whatever. Well, now that's a different kind of a thing. But the problem that you get with that is that once you turn that into a sulfate, well, now you've got something that breaks down fairly easily in nature, and you say, aha, but what does it break down to? Well, it breaks down into the aluminum ion and a sulfate ion, both of which are, have marginal effects. In other words, for
marginal, if they're done, maybe if they're done by just one or two planes, but if all the planes are out there doing it, and if it's a controlled military operation, I think it needs a little bit more explaining. Although I understand what you're saying.
But the point of all that is distribution of viruses or defoliants. I mean, we saw that in Vietnam with Agent Orange, those kind of things. But those are not contrails. That is not the water vapor that you see coming out of the back of a 737.
I'm going to give you a homework assignment. Yeah. Dane, D-A-N-E, Wigington, W-I-G-I-N-G-T-O-N.
Right.
Look them up and call me when you get the information, and maybe you will have changed your mind and maybe not.
No,
that's an important issue.
No, I probably agree with them, but once again, what I'm pointing out is that the stuff that people should be concerned about isn't visible. That the contrails you're seeing has nothing to do with this. Agent Orange, for instance, was.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't think it is. I agree.
Yeah,
but it does. They're little things that you can barely see.
No,
really,
viruses can be delivered that way. Certainly,
exactly.
Without a doubt. Yeah,
and I want to know if that's being done. And this one guy is saying that you can't imagine the amount of organizations that have stopped him from going to exhibits and going to give speeches and things like that. So there's a lot of play out there, according to him, that is putting him down.
Well,
so somebody's doing something.
Yeah, I mean, and perhaps there's something to that, but
maybe
you wouldn't believe the number of organizations that won't.
I got
invite
this from
me
Tucker Carlson. I'm sorry. Yeah, tell me about Tucker Carlson. What do you know about him?
So, Tucker Carlson is a libertarian and has those libertarian inclinations, but and I have watched Tucker Carlson for years and always appreciated his perspective on things. Yeah, as is the case with Candace Owens. Yeah, but now that entire economy, that information economy, is built around clicks. Right? It's the number of clicks you get, right? So now it's no longer news. It's just like I had to say something salacious or fantastic in order to get you to click on my thing, because that's how I get paid. And unfortunately, that's what we're down to with the Candace Owens and the Tucker Carlson.
All right, listen. I think, what the hell was that? My God, did you just belch? What the hell's the matter?
I think it was an electrostatic fart myself.
Can we say that?
I don't know. He said it.
That's
It's
a seven. What's
wait
one
a
of the
minute.
7 words you can't say on the air? Isn't it?
I don't know what the hell's going
That's
on.
old news. There's nothing.
All right,
to
listen, I didn't. I was looking for you, but I didn't see you. So, anyways, you stay if you want to. Stay.
I'm staying.
Be a good boy.
I'm staying because of your next guest.
Be a good boy and stay. Of course you are. Of course you are.
Oh yeah.
This man,
hey, Don, how you doing?
A lawyer. He's a lawyer, and I'm updating you to a philosopher, or whatever that is. Philosopher. Yeah. Peace loving, with his wife faced death to 350 in his own house. He stopped them with 2 words: private property. Please welcome, all the way from probably St. Louis, Mark and Pat McCloskey. If you moved about this far in that direction, your head would have little fireballs coming out of it.
There you go.
Right there. There you go. Look at that. Oh my God, another king. This happened to me earlier.
It's my menorah of light, right?
Either that or you're a queen. I don't know which. I have.
Go away from that one.
Well, yeah. David, I think the words that did stop him was AR-15.
Yeah. Well, okay. All right. I want you.
It was really that dumbass little Bryco pistol my wife was waving over.
Yeah, I know. Hey, listen. I want to play clip 4 and 5 because they're relative to 1-6. Hit it.
Every single letter they send us that has a substantive referral is opened by this FBI.
Director, just to clarify, how many Americans were arrested regarding January 6th? I know many people spent jail time as a result of January 6th, and you've been doing a deep dive investigation into this. There's a lot of speculation online. We want to know who planted the pipe bomb. Is there anything you can tell us there? And how many people were arrested on January 6th?
Too many. Far too many, far too baselessly as a result of a weaponization of justice and a politicization of targeting President Trump's supporters. It was unlawful and improper, and we've been working like we have with the deputy director to unearth that. And as it relates to major investigations of public importance like the pipe bomber, again, I say, stay tuned. We reviewed every single investigation of public consequence, reopened them, reevaluated them because we feel it cannot go untouched. We are not going to let these things lay by and allow the fake news media to run roughshod over us. Our indictments speak powerfully in court. If you don't believe us, just look at the response that the Eastern District of Virginia under Lindsay Halligan did to James Comey, and look at the notes and publication of evidence. That's the type of material we have, but we have to safeguard our prosecutions because the ultimate accountability is with the verdict in a jury room.
Okay, is that 4 and 5? Okay, great. What are your comments to that? Because you're right there. You're right with it all.
Well, the most shocking thing to me is that Cash didn't know how many people got arrested, right? Wouldn't you want to know that if you're going to take care of them? The number is 1,583. That's how many people the president pardoned. I was shocked when I heard that. And, we're still getting back from the Justice Department. We're filing the SF-95s, which is a requirement to preserve your right to file the Federal Tort Claims Act claim. We're getting them back from Justice with every kind of spurious excuse for not taking them. They claim they needed a wet ink signature. Then they claim that, and this is probably actually in the CFRs, where they needed to have indicia that you had authority to sign on behalf of your clients. But then they will send them back because they did the math on the client's SF-95 and didn't come up to the same number that the client did, and all this kind of stuff. All the statute actually requires is you timely file an SF-95 within 2 years, or its functional equivalent within 2 years of the date of the event complained of. And despite the fact that we certainly gave them adequate notice and more than adequate notice on a lot of these claims, they're still kicking them back. So the answer is that I think the rank and file of at least the Justice Department is still hostile to these claims, and that we don't have any functional change, at least at the rank and file level at DOJ.
I wanted you to hear this because there was a little guy on this tape. I actually taped it, and then it got changed. Everything got changed. It was a hell to get this as a clip. But there was a little guy making commentary about it. And when Kash Patel said those things, he says, yeah, it's the same old FBI. They ain't doing anything. Trust me. And so I now I hear it from you, the guy that knows the most. So this here, does this tick you off?
Well, I got to tell you, there's so many things when we've had this conversation before, but when Kash Patel has closed the investigation into Charlie Kirk's murder, saying, hey, there's nothing to see here, when everything that I ostensibly know about what happened, none of it makes sense. I mean, the government is lying to us about that in such obvious and bold ways that I think they now are just tweaking us, saying, you people out there are so stupid, you'll believe anything we tell you, and we don't even have to make it pretend to make sense.
What does Donald Trump have to do with this?
Well, he ought to know who's working for him and have his. Here's the problem, I guess. Donald Trump. Well, like I love the guy. I worked for him. I still support him with my whole heart. But he's sitting there behind his desk in the Oval Office signing executive orders, and Will Scharf is handing him the binder with the executive order, and the president looks up at Will and says, "What is this? What am I signing?" And then Will has to tell him what he's signing, and then he signs it, goes to the next one, and Will, what's this one, right? Does he read them ahead of time? Does he give the bare bones, this is what I want to do, and somebody else writes it up, and then he signs it? I don't know, but he's a busy guy, and he, Henry Ford, the original Adolphus Bush, a lot of these people that ran big corporations in those days did everything themselves, wrote every check, knew every employee's name, wanted to run everything themselves. I don't think you can do that with the United States of America or the world these days. And so you have to rely on the people around you. And so they didn't get elected president, but they may have more control over the day-to-day events than the president himself does. And that's
he had a lot of this problem in his first term.
Yeah.
With guys like Spence and, all the other guys that were fired. The guy recently got arrested, the guy with the big mustache, white mustache. What's his name?
Yeah. I know exactly.
Yeah. Do you have any questions on that? I have Don Mayhew here.
But there's
by the way,
there's a fellow egg farmer.
Well,
yeah, fellow egg farmer is correct.
Well, there's a big difference between Radar O'Reilly and Will Scharf.
Yeah.
I mean, so I run into this even with my legislative assistant. We will talk about something, and then he will bring the stuff to me, and I'll say, "So what is this?"
Yeah.
Right? And then he will say, "Well, this is the thing we talked about the other day." It was kind of like what you said, Mark. I mean, I can't read every single word in every single piece of paper that lands on my desk, and so we do. You're right. We do have to rely on those that we trust around us, and the thing about Radar O'Reilly, you remember, he would just hand stuff in front of the colonel and he would just sign it. Yeah,
but wait a minute. This is important. The J6ers are really important. Mm-hmm. You tell him and the rest of the world, why is this important?
Oh, me? Well, I can tell you why this is important, because this was an attempted coup. This was January 6th was set up by the deep state to be the end of our republic. It had three purposes. One was general deterrence, to warn the American people that if you stand up against the deep state, you will be crushed and destroyed. It will make your life a living hell. Then the specific deterrence of gather 1 million of Trump's most ardent supporters into a single space and then try to foment a riot to get as many of them arrested as possible. And that's the specific deterrent effect. And that has destroyed the lives of 1,583 people and more, because they've got this entity called sedition hunters out there that posts a photograph of everybody they can find through face recognition technology and other things on the web under the title of being seditious traitors, right? And so those people have lost their jobs, lost their fortunes, lost their futures. But then the third and most important thing they hope to accomplish that day was to foment a real violent event where there are lots of dead bodies on the ground, which they could then film and use as evidence of white right-wing extremism, round up our guns, and that would be the end of things, because then they would claim that Trump had promulgated an insurrection and therefore was ineligible to run for president again under the 14th Amendment. The amazing restraint of that crowd of 1 million people that day was that did not happen. They did not bring any weapons with them. They had no organization. They genuinely went there to peacefully and patriotically protest and their grievances. And despite everything the government did in lobbing flashbang grenades and shooting them with rubber bullets, one of my clients, Guy Reffitt, was shot 30 or 40 times by this Shawnee Kirkhoff that is now allegedly the pipe bomber, right? 30 or 40 times she testified to, and she called him a domestic terrorist. And so why is this important? Because this was an occasion where the forces of the United States federal government conspired to create a situation to entrap and then punish people. And I got to tell you, the federal judges in the bench trials and even the jury trials, part of the sentence for these folks was enhanced if they admitted to voting for Donald Trump or admitting to being Republicans. They were specifically punished for their political views in a country that allegedly has this First Amendment thing. And that's why.
Wake up. Never mind.
What?
Jeez.
I was sleeping.
Oh my God, we've got Joe Biden in the house.
So
I was going to ask. Wait. I was going to ask you. A minute. You've lost your place. No. Sit there. I'll call on you a little later. Don't worry. So how many? I love politicians.
I have a material statement.
Okay, right after mine. Okay, so how many of these? We know were all the Democrats in on this, and how many Republicans were in on this too?
Well, I don't know how many Republicans are in on it, and I think that, and I'll just give you the scenario the way I see it. For example, take one of my clients whose 4-year-old son opens the door when the FBI does their raid, and as soon as he opens the door, he's got 30 laser dots on his chest from machine guns being pointed at him. And so I take the deposition of that FBI agent, and I say, what kind of a miserable SOB would point a machine gun at a 4-year-old? And he's going to say, well, it wasn't my fault. I was ordered to do it by the special agent in charge. You take his deposition, you say, what kind of a miserable SOB would you be to instruct your FBI agents to point machine guns at 4-year-olds? And I've got younger people, I've got people in cribs, right? And he'd say, it wasn't my idea. I was told to do it by the guy upstream. That upstream will get all the way up to Merrick Garland, I guarantee it. And that's how big that conspiracy was. But I can tell you this.
Yeah.
You've got some miserable SOBs in the Republican Party. Lindsey Graham said that day, look, you've got guns, shoot them, meaning Trump supporters. I mean, of course, Lindsey Graham loves blood loss, right? He's the most bloodthirsty guy in the Senate. He's never seen a war he didn't like. But, telling the Capitol Police to shoot Trump supporters, I mean, is this guy's a Republican? And Trump was playing golf with him last weekend. I mean, what the heck is that about?
Well, he doesn't know about this? I mean, how does he – who are the people that are next to Trump advising him and not telling him about this stuff?
He's got to know about it. By the way, I want to hear Don's response.
Yeah. Don, you awake? Yeah.
Okay, so I think we take judicial notice of the fact that there was a literal government conspiracy related to the January 6th stuff. I mean, that there is enough reporting out there by both sides, by the way, which would tend to lead a reasonable person to that conclusion. And then everything that followed after that with the weaponization of the FBI by the Biden administration, that is clear, irrefutable evidence. The exact same thing over at the IRS. So you can line all of those things up, and you can draw that conclusion that there was maybe more than a bit of conspiracy toward the end of doing exactly what Mark is talking about, which is to make it where Trump can never come back ever again, or anybody like him. And so with that being probably a major goal. A side benefit of that is kind of like the direction Mark was going. If you can make this bad enough, what was it that Rahm Emanuel said? Never let a good disaster go to waste.
Right.
Well, so you can imagine a scenario where there was rioting, burning, and all this other thing, which is what they kind of depend on, right? They were doing this all over the country.
They weren't doing it there.
No, but they expected the same to happen. They expect that same mentality to take hold, that herd mentality on that stuff. And so, and that which would, if you burn the Capitol to the ground, that is one of the situations that would require martial law. Yeah. And so under martial law, then Mark knows more about that than I ever
But it
would.
didn't happen.
But
and they still arrested all these people, though.
Well, of course, because
1,583 of them.
Because then they had to create the disaster.
Okay.
Right? They had to invent it.
Okay, and that is a coup, is it not?
As without a doubt, that was a coup because it started in the election process. And once again, reasonable people, given the exact same facts, would come to the same conclusion. That there was funny business going on with the election.
All right, go ahead.
The coup occurred the day before on January 5th, 2021. Nancy Pelosi had a phone call with Mark Milley where she says, well, you know, he's crazy, don't you? Meaning Trump. And then Mark Milley then agreed and said that he then brought in all of his chiefs and had them swear their allegiance to him, not the president, and had them all swear that they would not follow any orders from Donald Trump that Mark Milley didn't approve of, and that if Trump was going to launch an attack on China, he would call up the premier and give him advance notice.
And that is by definition treason.
That is,
and so why Milley isn't under indictment right now for treason is beyond me. There is the one thing that really confuses me.
Okay, so you think Trump maybe knows about this and is just biding his time to do it at the right time? It's hard for me to believe that he's as intuitive and as smart as he is. It's hard for me to put it in my little brain that he is actually fooled by this.
Well, I don't think he's fooled. And I'll go back to what Don just said. I mean, Bob Woodward in his book talked about this exchange between Pelosi and Milley, but Milley and Pelosi have both admitted it. This is treason. Why aren't they in jail? Why aren't they facing a noose? I mean, other people have been executed in this century for giving secrets to the Chinese and giving secrets to the Russians. I mean, here's you got the most powerful military man in the United States talking to the most powerful congresswoman, conspiring against the sitting president, and nobody gets arrested. Even in this Department of Justice, even in this FBI, the president was sworn in January 20th. We've had, 11 months to get to the point where the president, who knew this before he ever got sworn in, would take some action against people that conspired against him and committed treason. I don't understand it. What the hell's going on?
Okay, you have just said, what you've said means that you would have qualified very well for the attorney general job. Okay, now something that I'm not saying you'd want it or not, but what would you do right now if you were sent to be the attorney general?
Well, I tell you, people give me blowback on this because they say, look, we're Republicans. We don't believe in doing things this way. But I'd arrest all the guys who were involved in this, just like they arrested all the J6ers. They would come in, kick in their doors, pull them out at gunpoint, the kids and their spouses as well, and haul them off to jail. And some of these guys spent 1,000 days in jail, 900 days in solitary. Haul in these guys. Haul in the Jim Comeys. Haul in the Christopher Wrays. Haul in the Merrick Garlands. Throw them in jail. Let them defend themselves from a jail cell like they did with all the J6ers, and hold their feet to the fire. And you got people that admit treason, like Nancy Pelosi and Mark Milley. I mean, have them face the noose. This is the only way we're going to fix this problem is having real consequences for bad behavior.
How about the judges?
Oh, well, the judges, and the judges are all lawyers. They're the Article 3 judges. The only way you can get rid of them is by impeachment. Until we get 2/3 of the Senate, we'll never be able to impeach a federal judge. But they're lawyers. Their bar association ought to disbar them. I mean, for the people that hid exculpatory evidence, that conspired with the prosecutors, that suborned perjury, that created and destroyed evidence, all these folks should lose their law licenses, and you can't be a judge without a law license. And that's the most effective way. The problem is that in D.C., you've got the D.C. District Court, which is all liberal. You got the D.C. Court of Appeals, which is all liberal. And then you've got the D.C. jury pool, which is all liberal. So how are you going to prosecute anybody for crimes against the Trump administration in a jurisdiction where everybody wants Trump to just die?
Okay. I got about 70 seconds left.
So an important distinction too is that unfortunately, you cannot fire the entire FBI. But just like every bureaucracy in Washington D.C., it is peopled with liberals up and down the ranks. And so you can put anybody you want in charge, but the people you need to do the grunt work still have a political bent for the other administration.
Okay, go ahead.
That's true in every branch of government, and that's true. That's why there is a deep state, because the unelected bureaucrats and the career people actually run everything. And what Don was saying earlier about not being able to read everything, the problem is they sneak in a word or two here or a line or two there in 2,000 pages of legislation, and no one actually sees it until after it's been enacted, and then then it's too late. And if I've got just 1 minute,
go ahead. Well, you got 40 seconds.
A buddy of mine, Dr. Eric Naputi, called me. I was in D.C. saying he'd been arrested for a violation of the COVID-19 Consumer Protection Act. I got on the airplane. I downloaded the statute. It's like 2,200 pages. I found one paragraph, 2,100 pages into the bill that created something called the COVID-19 Consumer Protection Act, which made it a crime to contradict the government statements about COVID-19.
All right. On that note, and thank you both. Thank you, everyone who has listened to the show. You've got scoop after scoop after scoop here. Happy Thanksgiving. I'll be back in a week after the Thanksgiving holiday. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.